Adileye Olalekan. I'm sure it's not new to us. He has trained us on financial modeling, so I'm sure we know him already. So let's just start by Phoebe. So, Mr. Adelekun Mr. Adelekun, good morning. Thank you for teaching us once again this morning. Please, you can unmute your mic and go ahead, sir.
So good morning,
So good
everyone.
morning, everyone.
I hope you all have
I
a
hope
very
you all
good
have
week.
a very good week.
So today we'll be
So today
starting
we'll be
with
starting
data
with data
analysis,
analysis,
as Mr.
as
Olamide has
Mr.
mentioned.
Olamide has mentioned.
So let me just
So
share
let
my
me just
screen,
share
please.
my
Let me
screen, please.
know
Let me
on
know
the
on the
chat box
chat
if you can
box
see my
if you can
screen.
see my screen.
Then I believe
Then I
we
believe
all have we all have
we
access
all
to the
have
material
access
that
to the
we'll be
material
using,
that we'll
so
be
you can
using. So you
also
can also
repeat the same thing
repeat
from
the
your
same
end
thing
because
from your end because
sometimes you might
sometimes
feel you know
you
it,
might feel
or
you know
you've
it
seen the way
or you've
I've
seen the way
done
I've
it from my
done it
end,
from
so
my
you
hand,
might
you've
do
seen
it
the way
from
I've
my
done it
end.
from my
But
hand. But
replicating the same
replicating
thing
the same thing
at the same time is
at
the
the
best
same time is the
appropriate
best
method so
appropriate
you can
method
learn.
so you
So
can
if there's
learn.
any
So
challenge,
if
maybe
there's
I'm
any
using a
challenge, maybe I'm
shortcut
using a
in which you are not
shortcut
getting,
in
you
which you
can
are not
always call
getting,
my
you can
attention
always
to
call
it.
my attention
So
to it.
can
So
anyone see
can
my screen?
anyone see my screen?
Can anyone
Can
see my screen?
anyone see my
Okay,
screen?
thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Precious.
Thank you, Precious.
So let's go to
So
what we
let's go
have for
to what we
today.
have for today.
So today,
So
as mentioned,
today,
we'll be
as mentioned,
building
we'll be
this
building
dashboard,
this dashboard,
this simple
this
dashboard.
simple dashboard.
And I believe we all have access
And I believe we all have access
to this material
to this
that I'm
material
using.
that I'm
So what we
using.
do is that we
So
have a
what we do
data
is that
set.
we have a
You
data
know,
set. You know,
as people will always say,
as
or as
people will always
professionals will
say,
always
or
say,
as
we
professionals we
have
always say,
millions
we
of
have
data
millions of
generated
data
every single
generated
day,
every single day,
every single minute,
every
every
single
single
minute, every
seconds.
single
From
seconds.
your
From
comments
your
on
comments
Facebook to
on
your likes
Facebook to
on
your likes on
Instagram to your followers
Instagram
on
to your
Instagram.
followers
These
on
are
Instagram. These
data
are
you could
data you could
compute together,
compute together,
know how your
know
business
how
is
your business
driving.
is
It is
driving,
doing fine in
it is
terms of
doing fine in
marketing.
terms of marketing.
Sometimes if you go online
Sometimes
on
if you go
LinkedIn, you will
online on
see Data
LinkedIn, you will
Leon
see Data
doing
Leon
analysis of
doing
skit
analysis of
maker,
skit maker,
how many
how
likes or
many
how many
likes or how many
comments they are generating
comments
on
they are
YouTube.
generating on
These are
YouTube.
things that
These are
can
things
easily
that
be
can easily
converted to
be
cash. How
converted to
many views
cash.
they
How
are
many
generating
views
on
they are
YouTube?
generating on
You see
YouTube?
them doing
You see
for
them doing for
Sabalo, doing
Sabalo,
for
doing for
all these skit
all
maker. I
these
believe
skit
everyone
maker. I
knows
believe
them. You
everyone
have the
knows
likes
them.
of
You have the likes of
Sabalo, Camo
Sabalo,
State,
Camo State,
and
and
and the rest.
the
So
rest.
from this
So
data
from
set
this
also, we
data
also
set
have
also,
the
we
ones
also
that are
have the
related
ones that
to
are related to
organizations, like
organizations,
sales data
like sales
set,
data set,
customers data
customers
set.
data
We
set.
have train
We
data
have
set.
trained data
Data
set.
is everywhere.
Data
No
is
matter the
everywhere. No
organization
matter
you
the
find yourself
organization you
in,
find yourself,
either tax,
either tax,
either
either
finance,
finance,
either
either
healthcare, name it all, even
healthcare,
in the
name
military,
it, or even in the
everybody
military,
has to generate
everybody
data
has
to
to
the
generate
employer,
data
starting
to the
from
starting
imputing
from
names
imputing
to
names to
giving salaries. These
giving
are data.
salaries. These are data.
If you even bring
if
it to the
if you
store
even bring it
region,
to the
maybe
store
you
region,
going to the
maybe
store to
you
buy
going to the
items,
store to
these are
buy
also
items, these
data
are
the
also data
store
the
can use
store
in
can use
generating
in generating
insights. That's the
insights. That is
end
the end
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 part of
part
data,
of
which
data,
is
which
mainly
is mainly
major for what?
major for what?
Generating insights.
Generating
This
insight.
dashboard you are
This
seeing here,
dashboard you are
if it
seeing
is
here,
not giving
if it
any
is not
insight,
giving
it means
any
it is
insight, it means
total
it is
rubbish.
total rubbish.
It's just as simple
It's
as
just
that.
as simple as
The
that.
end goal
The
of
end
any
goal
data
of
set
any
is to
data
what?
set
To
is to
drive
what? To
insights.
drive
To know,
insights.
okay, we
No,
want to open
okay, we want
another
to
new
open another new
organization. We want to
organization.
get
We
close
want
to
to
our
get close to
customer.
our
We want
customer.
to
We
have
want to
a
have a
demographic data
demographic
set to
data
know
set to
where
know
majority of
where
our
majority of
customers
our
reside.
customers
You
reside.
understand?
You understand?
So these are things they
So these
usually
are things they
calculate. Then
usually
also
calculate.
even
Then also even
universities generate
universities
millions of
generate
data.
millions of data. You understand, from the input of new
to
students
those that
to those
convocate,
that
to even
convocate,
those that
to
are
even
doing
those that
better.
are doing better. That is why you see alumni
Association.
association.
So data is
So
everywhere.
data is
So you have
everywhere.
to
So
have
you have to have
understanding of how
understanding
to
of how to
analyze this
analyze
data
this
to
data
generate
to
meaningful
generate
insight
meaningful
and give
insights and give
recommendation. So either
recommendation.
the
So either
business,
the
the
business, the
organization,
organization, the
YouTube page,
YouTube
the
page,
marketing
the
team
marketing
can
team
get
can get
relevant
relevant
insights on what to
insights
do
on
next.
what to
So
do
the
next
business
so
can
the
grow. That's
business
the
can
major
grow.
aim
That's
of
the
data.
major aim
So
of
now let's
data.
go to
So
what we
now
have
let's
for
go to
today.
what we have for
Now we
today.
have a data
Now we
set
have a
which I've
data set
prepared,
which I've prepared,
and this is the
and
data
this
set.
is the data set.
We have a sales
You
data
have a
set,
sales data set,
and we have
and we have
product
product
data set, we
data
have
set, we have
location, we have
location, we have
customers, and we have
customers,
sales
and we have
people.
sales
We can see the
people. We
data
can see the
tables.
data tables.
Now these are talking
Now
about,
these are
let's
talking
first
about,
understand the
let's first
data before we
understand
go
the
into
data before we
analyzing.
go
That
into
is the first thing,
analyzing. That is the first thing.
because the
Because
first
the
aspect of
first
data is
aspect of
data
data is
input.
data
You have to
input.
understand
You
data
have to
collection
understand data
process. Okay,
collection
what are the
process.
data
Okay, what
collected?
are the data
What do I
collected?
need to do?
What do I need to do?
You
You
will
will you will
imagining that I'm not going
imagining that I'm
into
not
slide
going
today, that
into
I'm not going
slide
into
today, that I'm not going into
the PDF
the
created for us,
PDF created
because
for
I
us,
believe it
because
is
I
just waste
believe
of
it is
time.
just
Why
waste
do we
of
need to
time.
talk
Why
more
do we
about
need to talk
theory
more about
when we have
theory
a lot of
when we
practical
have a
to
lot
talk
of
about?
practical to talk about?
So we might just go
So
into
we
the
might just
practical
go into
later.
the practical later.
So now we need to
So
first
now we need to
understand,
first
okay, what
understand,
does
okay,
this
what
company
does this
sells?
company
That is when we talk about
sells? That is when we
products.
talk
So
about
you can see we have
products.
product
So you can see we have
IDs,
product
which is
IDs, which is
ENX 2000,
ENX
2001,
2000,
2002.
2001,
Then we have
2002.
product name
Then we
from
have
1
product name
to
from 1
101.
to
Then for
101.
each
Then
product, there
for
is a
each
cost
product, there is a
assigned to it.
cost
And
assigned
for
to
each
it.
product, there
And
is
for
an
each product, there
original
is an
sales price
original
attached
sales
to it.
price
So this is
attached to
telling
it.
us that if
So
you
this
want
is
to know
telling
the
us that
cost
if
for
you
one
want to know the
product, this
cost
is
for
the
one
cost
product,
price.
this is the
Now in
cost
the
price.
market, how
Now
much
in the
is it being
market, how
sold?
much is it being sold?
You understand? That is why
You
we have
understand? That is
original
why we
sales
have
price
original
and
sales price
cost
and
for that
cost
product.
for that
Again,
product.
there is a
Again, there
collection
is a
for
collection
there is a
for
collection of
there is a
location
collection
in
of
which
location in which
the company
the
covers.
company
We have
covers. We have
California. I'm coming. Let me
California.
create
I'm
a
coming. Let me
filter
create
here so we
a
can see the
filter
list
here
of
so we can see
all
the list of all
states. So
states.
let me just use the
So let me
drop
just use
down.
the
So we see
drop down. So we see the
the organization
the
have
organization
presence
have
only in
presence only
California.
in
They
California.
don't have presence
They
in
don't
other
have
states
presence
in
in other
the
states in
US.
the
Then we can
US.
also see
Then
the
we can
state
also see
code.
the state
Then
code.
we can see the
Then
city,
we can see the
which is
city,
CDP and
which is
city.
CDP and city.
Then in terms of
Then
country,
in
we
terms
have
of
Los
country, we have
Angeles,
Los
Frenos,
Angeles,
and so on and so
Frenos,
forth.
and so on
Now
and
this
so
is talking
forth.
about
Now, this is talking about
location,
location,
country, continent.
country,
Then the
continent.
population they
Then the
have in that
population they
region. We
have in
have
that region. We have
each region, which is
each
the
region, which is
population
the
they have
population
in that
they have
specific
in that
region,
specific
the
region,
household,
the
the
household,
median
the
income.
median income.
You understand that all
You
these
understand
data
that
are
all these data
dimensional
are
data. It's not
dimensional data.
about
It's not about
sales. Are we
sales.
together?
Are we together?
Um,
Um,
Oluwole
Oluwole
Adesunu Raw. Sorry for
Adesunu
that if I'm
Raw.
not
Sorry for that if
pronouncing
I'm
that.
not pronouncing that. Thank you.
Thank you for meeting your mic.
Thank you for
So
meeting
now
your
we
mic.
have median
So now we
income,
have
we have
median
land
income, we have
area, we
land
have water
area, we
area,
have
we have
water area, we have
now all
time
these
zone.
data
Now
are
all
just
these
giving
data are
us
just giving us
demographical information
demographical
of
information
the
of
location
the
of
location of
our company.
our
Then again we
company.
have
Then again we have
customers data.
customers
So
data.
the
So
firm does this
the
in a way
firm
that
does
they could
this in a way
easily
that
know all
they
the
could easily
customers
know
that are
all the customers
patronizing
that are
them. So I would like
patronizing
to
them.
explain
So I would like
another
to
thing again, which
explain
is
another thing
known
again,
as
which is known as
redundancy. Why
redundancy.
we have data
Why we
like
have
this, which is
data
from
like this, which
products,
is from product,
location,
location,
customer,
customer,
salespeople, is
salespeople,
because
is because
if you have
if
everything
we
in a
have
single
everything
table,
in a single table,
you can imagine
we
we
can
can have
imagine we
one
can have
person
one
coming to buy
person
a
coming to buy
commodity
a
multiple
commodity
times in a
multiple times
So
in
you
a
now
day. So
imagine
you now
in a
imagine
whole year
in a whole year
having that same person,
having that same person
inputting that same
inputting
data
that same
again.
data
It means you
again.
will have a
It means
large
you will have a
data
large
to
data
deal with.
to
But
deal with.
collecting
But
data in this
collecting data
format
in
make
this
it
format
more
make it
easier
more
for
easier
people to deal
for
with
people to
in
deal with
terms of
in
now
terms of
for every
now for
person
every
patronizing
person
that this
patronizing
stuff we are
that
dealing
this
with,
stuff we are
there
dealing
is
with,
a
there is a
salesperson ID.
salesperson ID.
You understand? This is
You
talking about
understand? This is
sales
talking
people,
about
people that
sales
are selling
people
their
that are
products.
selling their
So for
products.
every
So for every
salesperson, there
salesperson,
is a
there is
sales
a
ID
sales
assigned to
ID
them.
assigned to
So
them.
on our
So on
sales
our sales
data, I'm going to open
data,
that
I'm
now
going
so
to
we
open
can
that
see.
now so
We
we
don't need
can
to
see.
keep
We don't
writing
need to keep
Fred
writing Fred
Robinson. We don't need
Robinson.
to keep
We don't need
writing
to keep writing
Kelvin
Kelvin
Butler. We
Butler.
don't need to keep
We don't need to
writing
keep
Andrew
writing
Bowman.
Andrew
All we just
Bowman.
need to
All
write
we
is
just need to
the
write is this
salesperson ID
salesperson
to make it
ID
very
to make it
easy.
very
So if
easy.
Kelvin
So
Butler
if
is coming
Kelvin
multiple
Butler is
times, we
coming
just write
multiple
this
times, we just write this
salesperson
salesperson
ID for
ID
Kelvin
for
Butler.
Kelvin
So
Butler. So whoever
is inputting the
is
data,
inputting the data,
we just input
we just input
EMP
EMP
1001
1001 stating standing for salesperson
Kelvin Butler.
Kelvin
So if you
Butler.
now want to
So if you now
go
want
into
to go
diagnostic
into
analysis,
diagnostic
maybe you want
analysis,
to
maybe you
have
want to
further
have further
information
information
about that
about
person with
that
that
person with
ID,
that
you can
ID,
just go
you can
into
just go
salesperson,
into
then
salesperson,
create a
then
data
create a
model. You are
data
still going
model.
into
You are
that.
still going
You
into that.
create a data
You
model.
create a data
Then again,
model.
you observe
Then
again
again,
the
you
same thing
observe
is
again
done
the
for
same
each
thing is done
customer.
for each customer.
We have
We have
each customer with
each
what
customer with
unique
what unique
identity.
identity.
Yes, unique
Yes,
identity.
unique
And this is
identity.
where
And this is
primary
where
key,
primary key.
we have been
We'll
hearing
have been
primary
hearing
key
primary key
and foreign
and
key
foreign key
comes in.
comes in.
So primary
So
key are
primary
unique
key are
identity
unique
assigned to
identity
a
assigned to
specific
a
product,
specific product,
assigned to a
assigned to
specific
a specific
customer,
customer,
or assigned to
or
a
assigned to
specific
a specific
location.
location.
And on the
And on
fact
the
table, which
fact
is our
table, which is
original
our
sales
original
table,
sales
we
table,
now have
we now
a
have
foreign
a
key
foreign
that
key
can be
that can
easily
be
linked
easily
to the
linked
primary
to the
key.
primary key.
So let me open our
So
sales
let me
data.
open our
Let me
sales
just
data.
open one.
Let me just open one.
Let me open
Let me
the
open the
2019 sales data.
2019 sales data.
So now you'll
So
observe
now
here
you
we
will
have
observe here
order
we have
ID,
order ID,
we have
we
product
have
ID,
product ID,
we have
we
location
have
ID.
location
Everything
ID.
we are having here is
Everything we
just
are having here is
majorly
just
ID,
majorly
ID,
ID, ID,
customer ID,
customer
then the
ID,
purchase
then the
time. This
purchase
is talking
time.
about date.
This is talking about date.
The reason why we are seeing
The reason why we are seeing
4351 is because this
4351 is because
cell
this
is format as
cell is
general,
format
not as
as
date.
general,
So
not
let's
as
change
date.
that.
So let's change that.
Then you see the normal
Then
date,
you see
which
the
is
normal date,
2019.
which is
So you can
2019.
just use your
So you can
control
just use
shift
your
down
control shift
navigation,
down navigation,
then change the entire
then change the
cell
entire
to
cell to
date.
date.
So now we have
So
date.
now we have
So now
date.
you see here we
So now you
just
see
have
here we just have
IDs, IDs,
IDs,
IDs,
IDs,
IDs. So
IDs,
if we
IDs.
are
So
interested
if
in
we are
knowing, okay,
interested in
this
knowing, okay,
customer ID,
this
we are told
customer
that
ID, we are told that
C1073
C1073
purchase
purchase a commodity on the second February 2024, 20 2019, February 24, 2019. So if you are interested in knowing the person who has this customer
all we need
ID,
to do is
all
just
we need
come
to
to
do is
our
just come to
data
our
set,
data set, dimensional
come to the
table, come
customer.
to the
Again, let's
customer.
check what's the
Again, let's check
customer
what's
ID.
the customer ID.
C1073.
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 Let's just find that
Let's
is
let's just
control
find that is
F.
control F.
C1073.
C1073.
So you can see
So you
the
can see
customer
the
that came
customer
to
that
purchase
came
that
to
product
purchase
is
that product is
this name,
this name,
Sims.
Sims.
So that makes
So
our
that makes
data
our data
easy, and
easy,
whenever we are
and
working,
whenever
it's
we are
more
working,
efficient.
it's
It
more
reduces
efficient. It
redundancy.
reduces
We don't need to
redundancy.
work with
We don't
large
need to work
data.
with
Let's say
large
for
data.
instance now,
Let's say for
for
instance
each
now,
customers that comes,
for each
we usually
customers that
collect,
comes, we
there are
usually
some further
collect,
information
there
we
are some
usually
further
collect, maybe
information we usually
their
collect,
birth
maybe
date.
their birth date,
You understand? Their
you
birth date.
understand, their birth
We
date.
usually collect
We
other
usually
data
collect
related to
other
their
data related to
location,
their location, other data related
their
to maybe
states,
their
data
states,
related
data
to their
related
first name,
to
second
their
name. You
first name,
understand? We
second name. You
can
understand? We
collect
can
all those data
collect all those
under our
data
customers
under our
table. So
customers
it will
table.
reduce
So
redundancy.
it
We can keep
reduce
adding cells
redundancy. We
here
can keep
and it
adding
won't
cells
affect
here
our
and
facts
it won't
table.
affect our
So
facts
whenever we
table.
want to know
So
further
whenever we want to know
information about
further
this customer's
information
ID,
about this
all we need to
customer
do is just come
ID,
to
all
the
we need to do is
customer
just
table
come
to know.
to the customer table
And
to
there's a
know.
way we usually
And there's
create
a way we
connection
usually
using
create
data model.
connection using data model.
There's a way we usually create
There's
connection
a way
using
we
data
usually create
model.
connection
We're still
using
going
data
into that.
model.
So
We
let
are
me
still
just
going into
undo
that.
this.
So let me just undo this.
Then let's move to the real
Then
business.
let's move to the
So
real
now we're
business.
going to
So
save.
now we want to
Let's
say,
create an empty
let's create
workbook.
an
So
empty
in our empty
workbook.
workbook,
So
we
in
need to
our empty
connect
workbook, we
to
need to
the
connect
data
to
using Power
the
Query.
data using Power
So
Query.
firstly, you need to
So
understand
firstly,
one thing
you
that
need to understand
sales
one thing
data
that
sets don't
sales
come
data
just
sets
once.
don't
It
come
is a
just once.
continuous
It is a
data set.
continuous
So
data
the
set.
most
So
appropriate way
the
of
most appropriate way
connecting to
of
this data is
connecting to
connecting
this
to the
data is
folder
connecting to the
in which the
folder
data are
in
being
which the
stored.
data are being
I guess
stored.
we understand.
I guess
So
we
let me bring it
understand.
back here
So
so we
let me
can
bring it back here
understand.
so we
Now
can
you
understand.
can see we
Now
have
you can see we
2019,
have
we have
2019, we
2020,
have
and we have
2020, and we
2021.
have
So there are
2021.
times
So
whereby
there are
we
times
deal with
whereby we deal
daily
with
sales data
daily
sets
sales
because
data sets
all
because
stores opens
all
every
stores
day
opens every
and
day
people comes
and
in
people
to buy
comes in to buy
commodities.
commodities.
So
So
they can be
they can
a
be
folder
a
in which they
folder in which
store
they
all this
store
data
all this data
automatically. It's mostly
automatically. It's
always
mostly
automated.
always
So one
automated.
of the best
So
way to
one
do
of the
that is
best way
you
to do
need to
that
just
is you need to
connect
just
to that
connect
folder.
to
So
that
whenever there
folder.
is new
So whenever
data,
there is new
we don't need to
data,
always go there
we
to
don't need to
import.
always go
We create
there
an
to import.
automated process
We
in
create
which
an
it
automated
automatically
process
bring
in
the
which
data to
it
Excel. So
automatically
that
bring
is
the
the process
data
we are
to
going to
Excel.
use.
So
So
that is
let me use
the process we are going to
get
use. So
data.
let me
So
use
whenever you want to import
get
data, you
data.
come to
So
data.
whenever you want to
So
import
under
data,
data,
you
you
come
come
to
to get
data. So
data.
under data, you come to get
Then you
data.
come to from
Then
file.
you come to from file.
So you see we have
So
different
you see we
options.
have
We have
different
from
options.
Excel
We have
workbook,
from Excel
we have
workbook,
from text
we have from
slash
text
CSV,
slash CSV,
we have
we
from
have
XML, but
from
the one we want to use
XML,
here
but the
is
one we
from
want to use here
folder.
is from folder.
Then the next thing we need to do is
Then the next thing we
select
need
that
to do is
folder.
select that folder.
So let me locate my
Let me
folder,
locate my folder,
which is sales
which
data.
is sales
Open
data.
that data.
Open that data.
So you see it's trying to
So you see
connect.
it's
Now it
trying to
has
connect.
connected.
Now it has connected.
Now you see we have,
Now you see we have, let's check
together.
oh,
We
let's
have
check together.
name,
We have
extension,
name,
date
extension,
accessed,
date accessed,
which is today's date,
which is today's
meaning that
date,
if there's
meaning
another
that if
one
there's
added
another
tomorrow,
one added
it's going to
tomorrow,
tell us the
it's
date
going
it
to
was
tell us the
accessed.
date it was
The date
accessed.
it was
The date
modified
it was
was
modified, it was
11/13/2021.
11/13,
You can see
2021.
here, and the
You can
precise
see, and the
time.
precise time.
Then again, we have the date
Then
it
again,
was
we have the
created
date it
and
was
other
created
things.
and other
So
things.
now, yeah, you
So
can
now,
decide
yeah,
to
you
load
can decide to load
on the Excel
on
sheet
the
or
Excel
load
sheet
as
or
data
load
model.
as
We are
data
still coming
model.
there.
We are still
Now we don't
coming
want
there.
to load it
Now we
now
don't want to
because we
load it
still
now
need to do
because we
some
still need to do
further
some further
editing.
editing
Because here,
because
this
here
instruction is
this
not
instruction
a
is not
data set,
a
it's just
data
a
set, it's
notepad.
just a
So let's go
notepad.
and check
Let's go and check
instruction. What is there?
instruction. What is there?
You can see it's just
You can
stating
see it's
an
just stating
instruction.
an
We are going to
instruction that we are going
connect
to
to folder
connect
in
to
this
folder
video
in this
tutorial.
video
That is
tutorial.
what it
That
simply
is what it
means.
simply
So we
means.
don't need it.
So we don't
It's
need
not
it.
a
It's
data set.
not a
The
data
data
set.
set
The
we need
data
is
set we
just
need is just
2021 sales
2021
data set
sales data set
and the
and the
2019. Then again,
2019.
another
Then
thing you
again,
need to
another thing you
understand is
need to
that whenever
understand
you
is
are
that whenever
importing
you are
data
importing
and
data
you want to use a
and you want to
folder,
use a folder,
all these data
all these
must
data must
has the same
has the same
column headers.
column
I'm going to
headers. I'm going to
explain further.
explain
So
further.
let's
So
transform
let's
this.
transform this.
Now we have
Now
content
we
as
have
we have it
content
there.
as we have it there.
So what do we need to do to
So what do we need to do to
instruction
exclude
because it
this
is not part of our
instruction? Because
data.
it is not part of
So what
our
we need to do
data.
is come
So
under
what we need
this
to do
name,
is come under this
click on
name,
this drop down.
click on this drop
Again,
down.
take note, we are in
Again,
Power
take note,
Query
we are
now.
in
For
Power
those that
Query
are new
now.
to
For
Excel,
those that are
this
new
is
to
what they
Excel,
call
this
Power
is what they
Query
call Power
Editor.
Query
This
Editor,
environment,
this
it is majorly
environment.
used in
It
connecting
is
to
majorly
different
used in
source. You can
connecting to
connect to
different
web,
sources. You can connect to
folder,
web,
an existing
folder,
Excel
an
workbook. You can even
existing
connect
Excel
to
workbook. You can
database
even
like
connect to database
MySQL,
like MySQL,
PostgreSQL, and so on and so forth
PostgreSQL,
for
and so on and so
organization.
forth,
We also
or
have Microsoft
organization. We also have
SQL.
Microsoft
So that is what we
SQL.
usually use
So that's what
Power
we
Query
usually
for
use Power
majorly.
Query for
Then
majorly.
again, here we don't want
Then
to
again, here we don't
have
want to
this instruction
have
because
this
it is not a
instruction
data
because it
set.
is not
Then
a
again, you
data
will have
set.
been
Then again, you
observing
will
we
have
are
been
seeing
observing we are
CSV.
seeing
Here we
CSV.
have
Here we have
TST. Let me
TST.
explain this
Let me
simple
explain
meaning
this
so we can
simple
have
meaning
better
so we can have
understanding.
better
This
understanding.
CSV
This
means
CSV
comma
means comma
separated value.
separated
It means
value.
that
It
data is
means that
saved in a way
data
that
is saved in
it
a
is
way that
separated
it is
using
separated
comma.
using
From the word
comma.
comma
From the word
separated
comma
value.
separated value.
It means, let's say
It
for
means,
instance,
let's say for instance,
the person that
the
collected the
person that
data
collected
use
the data use
name,
name,
comma,
comma,
age,
age,
comma,
comma,
customer,
customer,
comma,
comma,
comma, again after
comma, again
customer,
after
let's say we now
customer,
have
let's say we
sales.
now have sales.
Then under the
Then
name it
under
can
the
have
name, it can
Ojo.
have
Then
Ojo.
again, comma
Then
again
again,
to move
comma
to
again to move
age.
to
That is what is
age. That's
majorly
what
used
is
when you are
majorly used
inputting
when you are
data using
inputting
maybe
data using maybe
MySQL.
MySQL.
Under age you might have
Under
maybe
age, you might have
24.
maybe 24.
Again, comma
Again,
again.
comma again.
Under customer you
Under
might have
customer, you might
maybe
have maybe
Toluwani.
Toluwani.
Then under
Then
sales you might
under
have
sales, you might
maybe
have maybe
2000.
2,000.
So this is what
So
it
this is
simply
what it
means,
simply
meaning
means,
that
meaning
all
that
the data
all
we
the data we
collected
collected
is
is
separated by
separated by
comma,
comma,
not Excel
not
workbook. The
Excel
data was
workbook.
not
The data was
originally
not
collected
originally
using
collected
Excel
using
sheet. It
Excel
was
sheet. It was
collected using
collected using
comma
comma
separated value.
separated value.
Then again, this
Then again, this
TSV,
TSV,
TST means
TST
text.
means text.
It's just an
It's
ordinary
just an
text. As
ordinary
I've
text.
opened
As
here, you
I've
can see
opened
it's
here,
just
you
an
can see it's
ordinary
just an
text.
ordinary text.
So for us to
So
remove
for us
this
to
text,
remove
what we
this
need to do
text,
is
what we need to
click
do
on
is
this drop
click on
down.
this drop down.
After clicking on the
After
drop
clicking
down,
on the
come
drop
to where
down,
we I
come
could
to
have
where
just
I could have
unchecked
just
this. That is
unchecked
the
this.
easiest
That is the
method we
easiest method
know.
we know.
So
But
we have to
you
check
have
we
to
have to be
check.
very
We have to
conscious
be
of
very
one thing
conscious
that
of one thing
we
that
want to create
we
an
want to create
environment
an environment
that
that
even if I'm not
even
coming
if
back
I'm
to
not
Power
coming back
Query,
to
you
Power
should
Query,
always
you should
exclude
always
wherever
exclude
is
wherever
text.
is
I only
text.
want to see
I only want to see
CSV. I don't want to come
CSV. I
back to
don't want to
Power
come
Query.
back to Power
I
Query.
want to create
I
an
want to create an
automated
automated
process whereby
process
my
whereby
Power Query
my
editor
Power
just
Query
keep
editor
doing this
just
for
keep
me
doing this
every
for me
single day
every
without me
single day
coming back
without
to
me coming
edit.
back to edit.
So if I'm
So
doing
if
this
I'm
on
doing
check
this
here, it's a
on check
manual
here, it's a
method.
manual
You know,
method.
if you save
You know, if
another
you save
text again
another text
in
again
that
in that
in that
instruction in
folder,
that folder,
automatically it will pick it.
automatically it will pick
So
it.
for us to
So
make
for us
use
to
of
make use
automated
of
process, we are going
automated
to use
process, we are going
text
to use
filter.
text filter.
Okay, under text
So under
filter, we
text
come to
filter, you come to
contains. You see, we
contains.
have series
You
of
see, we have
options.
series of
We have
options. We
equals, we
have
have does
equals, we
not
have
equal,
does
we
not
have
equal,
begin
we
with,
have
we
begin
have
with,
does not
we
begin
have
with,
does
we
not
have end
begin
with,
with,
does
we
not
have
end
end
with.
with, does
But
not
here
end
we
with.
want to use
But here we
contain.
want to use contain.
So what does this mean?
So what does this mean?
It simply means that
It
okay,
simply means that
we
okay,
want to remove
we want to
anything
remove
that
anything
contains
that contains
.txt.
.txt.
Then press OK.
Then press OK.
Okay. So what I've
Okay.
done there
So
is
what
just
I've done there is
I've done
just
the
I've done the
other way around.
other way around,
Meaning that I'm only
meaning that
leaving
I'm only
anything that
leaving
contains
anything that contains
.txt. So here I'm
.tst.
only
So
leaving
here I'm only leaving
.csv,
.csv,
not .dot.
not
I'm
dot.
coming on do.
I'm
Let
coming
me
on do. Let me
remove the applied step.
remove the applied step.
Applied step.
Applied
So
step.
anything that
So anything that
contains,
contains,
you're only leaving
we are only
anything that
leaving
contains
anything that contains
.csv.
.csv.
Yes. So
Yes.
whatever is
So whatever
different
is
from
different from
.csv can be
.csv
removed.
can be
But the first
removed.
thing I did
But the
before could
first thing I
have been
did before could have
anything
been
that
anything that
does not
does
contains
not contains dot tst. You understand? That is the first thing I did instead of using contain. So now we have only just comma separated value, but it's not even showing our data. So how can we see our data? For we to see our data, we need to click on this combine files. So once we click on the combine files, wait a little bit, then you have access to the entire data set. So you can see sample file showing this is the first file, which is meant for 2019, if I'm right. Then again, if you click on the drop down, you see the first file is 2019, second one is 2020, the third one is 2021. Then again, based on what you are seeing here, you can see the delimiter is what? Comma. What delimiter means is the separator. That is the simple meaning for delimiter. It means the separator. So if the separator is not comma, sometimes it could be equal sign, sometimes it could be semicolon, sometimes it could be space or tab. So delimiters comes in different formats, but all you need to understand is that delimiter means the separator, what separates the data. Then the data type detection is detecting whether the order ID is a number, the product ID is a number, the location is a number based on the first 200 rows. That's what we are seeing here. So sometimes you might need to change it to the based on entire data set. It's based on your preference. But you observe our purchase date is still showing as whole number. It's not showing as date. So once we are done with this, we are going to format all the data sets to ensure we have accurate data type. So let's click OK. So now we have all our data. Now you observe something has been done at the back end. Are we together? Are we following?
Sorry, sir.
Okay, you have a
Okay.
question.
Sorry, sir.
You have
Can
a
you please check
question?
the chat room?
As you check the
Just
what?
As
just
you
check the
check the
chat
what?
room, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
The chats, the message.
Okay, someone said
Okay.
I
Someone
can't
said
find the
I
get
can't find the
data
get data
option to import the
option to
file.
import the
Okay,
file.
okay,
Okay.
thank
Okay.
you,
Thank you.
your
Thank you,
Mr.
Mr.
Olamide.
Olamide.
So
So
I'm coming,
I'm coming,
first thing I would like to ask
first
you,
thing I would like to ask you,
Mr. Charles,
Mr.
if you are still on the
Charles,
call,
if you are still on the
is
call, is
what version of
what
Excel are
version
you
of
using?
Excel are you using?
What version of
What
Excel are
version
you
of
using?
Excel are you using?
Are we together?
Are we together?
Mr. Charles
Mr.
Samuel,
Charles
what
Samuel,
version of
what
Excel are you
version
using?
of Excel are you using?
Kindly respond so we
Kindly
can
respond so we
progress.
can progress.
Hello,
Hello, is
Mr. Samuel still on
Mr.
this call?
Samuel still on this call?
Okay.
Okay.
So just check what
So just
version of
check
Excel
what
are you
version
using.
of Excel
For
are
you
you
to check,
using?
let me
For you
even
to check,
simplify
let
the
me even
process
simplify
for
the
you.
process for you.
Let me
Let me
I'm coming back to your call. So
I'm
let
coming
me
back
just
to you.
close
So
this.
let me just close
Then
this.
take note,
Then
I'm not loading
take
it
note,
as
I'm
stable.
not loading it as stable.
I'm only
I'm
creating
loading, I'm only
connection.
creating
Then I'm
connection.
adding it to the
Then
data
I'm
model.
adding it to the data model.
I'm still going back to
I'm still
backfill. I
going
just
back
need
to
to
backfill.
solve
I just need to solve
Mr. Charles
Mr.
Samuel's
Charles
question.
Samuel's
So if you want to
question.
check the version
So
of
if you
Excel
want
you
to
are
check the
using, all
version
you
of
need to
Excel
do
you
is
are
just
using,
come
all you
under
need to do is
account.
just come under
So you can see
account.
I am
So you
running
can
on
see I am
Microsoft
running on
Office
Microsoft Office
Professional Plus
Professional Plus
2019.
2019.
So kindly do that from your
So
end.
kindly do that from your end.
Okay, so you are running
Okay, so you are running
2013. So if you are running
2013. So if you are
2013,
running
the features will
2013,
surely
the
change.
futures will surely change.
You need to note that.
You need to note
There
that.
are some features that
There are
might
some
change,
futures that might
but
change,
even if you are
but
running
even if you are running
Microsoft Office
Microsoft Office
2013, what you need to do,
2013,
try and
what you need to
locate,
do, try
you
and
should be able to
locate,
see get
you should be able
data
to see get data
or
or
source
source, you should be able to see maybe existing connection from web. Let me know, please, under the data view, under the data tab, what can you see?
What are the first thing you
What
can
are the
see?
first thing you can see?
Under the data
Under the
tab,
data
what are the
tab,
things you can
what are
see?
the things you can see?
From access, from
From
web,
access,
from
from web,
text.
from text.
And you can't see,
And you can't
the
see,
features
you
can
know,
be
the
different.
features can be
My
different.
get data,
My get data,
my get
my
data
get
could be here,
data
but
could be
since you are
here,
using
but
a
since you
lower
are using a
version,
lower
your
version,
get data could
your
be
get
somewhere
data could
else.
be
Just try
somewhere
and check.
else. Just
But
try
if
and
you are
check.
not seeing the
But if
get
you are not
data,
seeing the get
you
data,
the
so
other way you could do is
the other
just
way you could do
use
is just use
from text slash
from text
CSV.
slash
You can do that.
CSV, if you
But if
can
you
do
are using
that.
from
But if you are
text
using
slash
from
CSV,
text
it means
slash
you are using
CSV, it means you are
the
using
manual
the
method. You will
manual
keep
method.
on
You
needing to
keep on
go back
needing to go back
to pick
to
2019,
pick
again you go back to pick
2019, again you go back to
2020, then
pick
you go back to pick
2020, then you go
2021,
back
which
to
is not
pick
advisable.
2021, which is not advisable.
So the best thing, maybe if
So
you
the
can
best thing,
upgrade
maybe if you can upgrade your
Microsoft Office
Microsoft
by
Office
visiting
by
a
visiting
computer
the
software
computer
engineers,
software
or at your
engineers,
leisure
or
time
at your
you
leisure
can
time
just go
you can
to
just go to
get
get
into
PC.com.
provided you are not using an
Provided you are not
office
using an
laptop.
office
You
laptop,
have to
you
be
have
sure
to
of that.
be sure
Then
of
here
that.
you can just
Then
type
here you can just
Microsoft
type Microsoft
Office
Office
2019.
2019.
So you should be able to see
So you
it.
should be able to see
So
it. So
getting to PC has make
getting
it
into PC
very
has make it
easier for
very
everyone
easier for
who is not
everyone
a
who is
computer
not a
engineer
computer
to
engineer to
download and
download
install
and install
any app.
any app.
I repeat, any
I
app.
repeat,
All you
any
need to do
app.
is click
All you
on
need
the
to do
app
is
you are
click on the
interested
app
in.
you are interested in.
So
So once
click on
you
the app, you
click
can
on
see
the
there is
app, you
a
can see
place we
there is
have
a
how
place we
to
have
install.
how to
So once you
install.
click on
So
how
once
to
you click on
install,
how
it's
to
going to show
install,
you
it's going
the
to show you the
processes
processes
you need to undergo
you need
in
to undergo
installing it.
in
Then
installing it.
again, if you
Then
click on
again, if you
download
click
full
on
setup,
download
you
full
are going to
setup, you
download
are going to download
a file
a file
worth
worth
9.8
9.8
gigabytes.
gigabytes.
Take note of that.
Take note
So
of
you can
that.
still
So
check,
you can
there
still
are other
check
versions
there
that
are
are
other
not
versions
up
that
to
are not up to
9.8 gigabytes.
9.8
We have
gigabytes.
Microsoft
We have
Office
Microsoft Office
2019, we have
2019, we have
2021, we have
2021, we have
2018. It depends on
2018.
your
It
preference.
depends on your
But
preference.
the one I
But
am
the
using
one
from my
I am
end is
using from my end is
2019.
2019.
So it is
So it is
advisable you try and
advisable you
download
try and download
2019 or more.
2019
So
or
I
more.
guess I've been able
So
to
I guess
answer
I've
your
been able to
question,
answer your question,
right?
right?
If I've been able to
If
answer
I've
your
been able to
question,
answer your
please use
question,
the chat
please use
box
the
so we
chat
can
box so we
continue.
can continue.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for that.
Thank you for that.
So now,
So
coming
now
back to our
coming back
Excel,
to our
so let's
Excel,
just
so
continue.
let's just continue.
Again,
Again,
I need to go back to
I
the
need to
Power
go back to
Query.
the Power
So
Query.
what I need to do
So
is
what
click
I
on
need to
that
do is
Get
click on
Data,
that Get
then come
Data,
to
then come
Launch
to
Power Query
Launch
Editor.
Power Query Editor.
So now I'm in the
So
Power
now I'm
Query
in the
Editor
Power
back.
Query Editor
So I need
back.
to check my
So I need to
data.
check my data.
Is all
Is
data
all
type.
data
There's what we
type.
call
There's what we
data
call
type. You can
data
see it
type.
here
You
in
can
our
see it
home
here
tab.
in our
In
home tab.
this home
In
tab,
this home
there's
tab,
what we call
there's
data
what we
type.
call
You need to
data
check
type. You need to
if
check
the data
if
type
the
is
data type is
for each
for
columns
each
are right.
columns
Now,
are right. Now,
this is a
this
combination
is
of
a
text
combination of text
and number.
and
So
number.
using
So
ABC
using
is
ABC
absolutely
is
right.
absolutely
Again,
right.
for our product
Again, for our
ID is a
product ID
combination of
is a combination of
text and
text
number.
and
So
number.
again, let's
So
check what are
again,
the
let's
options
check
we
what are
have.
the
You can
options
see
we
we
have.
have
You can see we
decimal
have
number,
decimal
we
number,
have
we have
currency, we have
currency,
whole
we have
number, we
whole
have
number, we
percentage,
have
we have
percentage,
date
we have date
slash forward slash
slash
time,
forward
we have
slash
date
time, we have date
time,
time, date
time
time
zone,
time zone,
duration
duration
text.
text, true or
True or false
false.
is
True
majorly
or
used
false is
for
majorly used for binary Boolean
we
data.
have boolean
We
datas,
have
then
Boolean
again we
data.
have
Then
binary
again, we have
datas.
binary
So
data.
the
So
ones that
the
suit
ones that
that column
suit
is what we
that
are going to
column
use.
is what we are
Using
going to
decimal
use.
here
Using
is not
decimal here
appropriate,
is not
right?
appropriate. right?
here we should
Again,
leave
here
it in
we should
text.
leave it in
The
text.
salesperson ID is combination of
The
text and
salesperson
number,
ID is
so text
combination
is
of text
appropriate.
and number, so
Then
text is
again, the
appropriate.
customer ID is
And again, the
combination of
customer
both
ID
text
is
and number.
combination of
But
what?
under our
Text and
purchase
number.
date,
But
this
under
is
our
meant to be
purchase date,
date.
this is meant to be date.
So add new
So
step.
add
Let's read it
new
together.
step.
So we don't
Let's
just
read
click
together. So
add
we
new
don't
step.
just click
The
add new step.
selected column
The
has an
selected column has
existing
an existing
type conversion.
type
Will
conversion.
you like to
Will
replace the
you like to
existing
replace the
conversion
existing
or
conversion
preserve
or
the existing
preserve the
conversion and add a
existing
new
conversion
conversion
and
as a
add a new
separate step?
conversion as a separate step?
So what I need to do is
So
I
what I
want
need
to
to do
add
is
a
I
new
want to
step.
add a new step.
So now we see
So now we
2
see
forward slash
2 forward
2019.
slash
So if we keep
2019. So
scrolling
if we
down,
keep scrolling down,
it keep adding.
keep adding,
And we see we have
and we see we have
a
a
full year
full year
corresponding
corresponding
to
to
what
what
we
we
just
just
used.
used.
So let's check the last
So let's check the last
one,
one,
which
which
is
is
quantity.
quantity. Is
Is
that
that right?
right?
Yes,
Yes,
quantity
quantity
is
is
meant
meant
to
to
be
be
whole
whole
number.
number.
So how can we be sure
So
that
how can we
okay
be sure
our
that
data
okay
is
our
free from
data
errors?
is
That
free
is
from
what we call
errors?
data
That is
quality
what we
check.
call data
So for us
quality
to do
check.
data
So
quality
for us
check,
to do
we
data
come
quality check,
under
we come under
home tab.
home tab.
We come under the home tab.
We come under the home tab.
Okay, coming.
Okay,
Okay, let me
coming.
collapse
Okay,
this.
let me collapse this.
So we are working with
So we
sales
are working with
data.
sales data.
So we want to do
So we want to
quality
do
check.
quality check.
So we need
So
to
we need
open the
to
formula by
okay, the
checked
formula bar
already.
is checked
The
already.
mono
The
space is
mono
checked already.
space
Show
is
white
checked already.
yes.
Show white, yes.
Okay. We are
Okay.
just checking
We are
if we
just
have
checking if we
anything
have
different.
anything different.
Okay.
Okay.
So now you have
So now
everything good
you
in
have everything good
order.
in order.
Have everything good in
Have everything
order.
good in
Just check
order.
if there's
Just check
anything
if there's anything
wrong. Nothing.
wrong. Nothing.
So now
So now
the next thing we need to do
the
is we
next thing
need
we
to
need to do
add
is we need to
our
add our
dimensional data.
dimensional
This is our
data.
fat
This is
data
our
talking
fat
about
data
sales.
talking about sales.
So we need to
So
input
we
our
need to input
dimensional
our
data that's
dimensional
talking
data
about
talking
each
about
segment,
each
like
segment
product,
like
the
product,
salesperson we
the
are using,
salesperson we are using,
also
also
our
our
customers and
customers
our
and
location.
our location.
So for us to do that,
So
we need
for
to
us to do
come to
that, we need
home
to
tab.
come to
We've
home tab.
closed this
We've
and load
closed
this
this and
already
load it
as
already
data model.
as data
So
model.
again, we
So
come
again,
to
we come
get
to
data.
get data.
Under the get data,
Under
we
the
click.
get
Now
data,
we
we
are not
click.
using
Now we are not
from
using
folder
from
because the
folder
data we want
because the
to
data we want to
input now is just
input
a
now is
one
just a
or
one
data.
or data.
It's not a
It's
continuous
not a
data.
continuous data.
This dimensional
This
data set that
dimensional
I've
data
opened
set that
before,
I've
you know it's
opened
not a
before, you know, it's
continuous
not a
data. I've
continuous
opened
data.
it
I've
before.
opened it before.
Let me open it again.
Let's check. Let me open it again.
So let's open that again.
So
So you
let's
see
open
that
that
it's not a
again. So you see
continuous data.
it's
We
not a
know the
continuous
total
data. We
numbers
know
of
the
products
total
we have.
numbers
So
of
even
products
if
we
you're
have.
having new
So
products,
even
you
if
can
you're
always
having new
add
products,
it
we can always add
in
it
this same data.
in this same
Again,
data.
if you have a
Again,
new
if you have
location
a
we are now
new
covering,
location we
you
are
can
now
always just
covering, you
add
can
an
always just
extra
add an extra
row. For
row.
our customers,
For our
assuming we have
customers,
another
assuming
new
we have
customer,
another
we can
new
also
customer,
add
you can
another
also
row,
add
not a
another row,
new
not a new
table entirely.
table entirely.
So what we need to do
So
here
what
is
we need
just
to do
come
here is
under
just
get
come
data.
under
Now
get
we are
data. Now we are
importing an
importing
Excel
an
workbook
Excel
because if you
workbook
check what I
because if
just
you check what
opened,
I just opened,
let's check the
let's
file
check
type.
the file
Let me
type. Let me
expand this.
expand this.
We need to
We
expand
need
this.
to expand
So you
this.
can see this is
So you
an
can see this is
Excel
an Excel
worksheet.
worksheet.
If you check our
If
sales
you check our
data,
sales
let's
data,
expand this
let's
again.
expand this again.
You can see this is a
You can say this
Microsoft
is a
Excel
Microsoft
comma
Excel
separated
comma
value.
separated value.
So there's a difference
So
between
there's a
that. You
difference
have to be
between
very
that. You have to
conscious
be
of
very
that. So
conscious of
you
that.
won't be
So
having
you
issues
won't be
with
having
data
issues
whenever
with
you are
data whenever
importing.
you are
So what we
importing.
need to do
So
here
what
is
we need
just
to do
come
here
back
is
to our
just come back to
data.
our data.
Then
Then now we are
importing using
importing using
Excel workbook,
Excel
not from
workbook, not
folder.
from folder. So now click on the dimensional data set, then import. Wait a little bit for it to create a connection. So it has created a connection. Now we have a customer data, just the customer sheet, we have location sheet, we have product data sheet, we have salespeople
So what we
sheet.
need to do
So
is
what we
that see
need
I
to do,
can't
we can see
select
I can't
multiple.
select multiple.
Most people will do it
Most
one
people
after
will
the
do it
other,
one
which is
after
not
the other, which is not
advisable. So the best
advisable.
appropriate
The
way is
best
just come
appropriate
under
way is
where we
just
have
come under where
select
we have
multiple
select
items. Check
multiple
it.
items. Check
So
it.
once you check
So
it,
once you've checked
check
it,
your first
check
data.
your first data.
I want to import
I want to
customer
import
data.
customer data.
I also want to
I also
import
want to import
location data.
location data.
I also want to
I also
import
want to
our
import our
product data.
product data.
Then I also want to
And I
import
also want
my
to import
sales
my
people.
sales
I want to know the
people.
people
I
I'm
want to
using
know the
for
people I'm
sales.
using for
I want
sales.
to import
I
that
want to
data
import that
also.
data
So
also.
importing this
So
is just
importing this
repetition.
is just
It's just
repetition.
repetition of
It's
what we
just
have here.
repetition of what we
So we
have
are
here.
okay with this
So we are
one,
okay with
two,
this
three.
1, 2, 3,
So
4.
let's just
So
click
let's
on
just
transform
click
data.
on transform data.
So we can go to our
So
Power
we can
Query
go to our
editor.
Power Query editor.
So let's wait while it
So
creates
let's
the
wait while
connection.
it gets the connection.
So now the connection is
So now
done
the
created.
connection is done created.
Again, let me just do some
Again, let me
renaming.
just do some
I want to
renaming.
name this
I
not
want
as
to
sales
name this
data.
not
Let me
as sales
rename it as
data. Let me
sales
rename it
and
as
remove
sales
all the
and
data.
remove all the data.
Rename.
Rename.
So there are two major
So there are
ways
two
of
major
renaming.
ways of
I can
renaming.
easily come
I
under
can
this
easily come
property
under this property
and rename whatever I
and
want to
rename
rename.
whatever I want
I
to
prefer
rename.
this one.
I prefer this
Or
one.
you can right
Or
click
you can
on the
right
data,
click on the
then
data, then
locate rename.
locate rename.
For most times I use
But most
this.
times I use this.
So now let's check.
So now
Do we
let's
have
check.
any
Do we have any
differences? Good.
differences? Good.
The other allocation
The other
picking right.
allocation picking right.
Area
Latitude,
code,
area code,
household, medium
household,
income.
medium income,
That is whole
that is
number.
whole number.
Again, let's check our
Again,
product
let's check our
together. We
product
have
together. We have
ABC
ABC
for product
for
ID.
product
We have our
ID.
cost
We
in
have our
whole
cost
number.
in whole
We have
number.
our
We
original
have our
price in whole
original
number.
price in whole
Then again,
number.
let's check the
Then again,
sales
let's check the
people.
sales peak.
This is also
This is
absolutely
also
right.
absolutely right.
So what do we need to
So
do?
what do we need
So
to
now
do? So
in our
now in
data,
our
I will need
data,
to
I will need
extract
to
some further
extract some further
dates.
data.
For example, I
For
want to
example,
know
I want
the
to know
name of
the
each
name of
month.
each
I don't want to
month.
just see
I
a
don't
full
want to
date.
just see a
So what
full
I need
date.
to do is
So
come
what I
under
need to do
add
is come
column.
under add column.
Again, let's take note of
Again,
one
let's take
thing.
note of
There is
one
difference
thing.
between
There is difference
transform
between
and
transform and
add
there's
column. But
add
if you check,
column.
you might see
But
we
if you
have
check, you might see we have some
the things that are
the
similar
things that are
under
similar
transform
under
and add
transform
column.
and add column.
But add
But
column simply
add
means
column
whatever I'm
simply
doing
means
on
whatever
this
I'm
column,
doing on this
it won't
column, it
influence
won't
this column.
influence this
It's going to
column.
add
It's going to
another
add
extra
another
column.
extra
But
column.
under this
But
transform,
under
it
this
means whatever
transform,
I'm
it means
doing here
whatever I'm doing here
using this tag
using this
is going to
tag is going
influence
to
this
influence
current
this
column.
current
It's just as
column.
simple as
It's just
that.
as simple
So
as
let's
that.
come under
So
add
let's come
column.
under add
We want to
column.
add
We want to
extra
add extra
name of
name
month.
of
So what
month.
we need to do is
So what we
come
need to
under
do is
date.
come under date.
Then under the date we
Then under
have
the date we have
the
the
date
date
functions like
functions like year, year of month. If you want to
once I
extract the
click the
year,
year,
once I
it will
click the year,
extract
it
each year
extracts
for me.
each year for
You
me.
can see.
You can see.
Again, I can just
Again, I can
extract
just
maybe
extract maybe
name of each month
name
which
of
I'm
each month which
interested
I'm
in.
interested in.
You can see it's bringing
You
out
can see it's bringing
February,
out
February,
February,
March, which
February,
is
March,
what
which
I'm
is
interested
what
in.
I'm
But there
interested
are
in.
sometimes
But
you
there are
might be
sometimes you
interested
might
in
be
maybe the
interested in
month
maybe the
end.
month end.
You can see we have
You can
start
see we
of
have
month,
start of
end
month,
of month.
end
We
of
have
month. We
days
have
in a
days
month.
in a month.
Let me input that
Let
so
me
you
input
see.
that
It's
so you
telling me we
see.
have
It's telling me
28
we
in
have
this month.
28 in
We
this
have
month. We have
31 in this
31
month.
in
You
this
can see the
month.
extra
You can see the
minutes given
extra
to us.
minutes
But
given to
sometimes
us.
you might be
But
interested
sometimes you
in
might be
things related
interested
to
in
maybe
things
week.
related to maybe week,
week of the year,
week of the
week of
year,
month,
week of month,
the start of week, the
the
end of
start
week,
of week,
or
the end
maybe
of week, or
day,
maybe
name of day,
day,
and so
name
on.
of
I
day,
am
and
not
so on.
interested
But
in
I
any
am
of
not
this.
interested in any
If you
of
are doing
this.
your own
If you are
analysis
doing your
and you
own
feel you need
analysis
to
and you feel you
extract
need to
other
extract
date
other date
information, so you can always use this
information, so
add
you can
column
always
and
use
date
this add column and
function
date
to just do that.
function to just do that.
So I'm interested in only
So I'm
this
interested
month
in
name.
only
I'm
this
not
month
interested
name.
in
I'm
this
not
year, so I
interested in
can
this
delete
year,
it.
so I can
So
delete
let me
it.
just
So
delete
let me just delete.
again. I'm not
Again,
interested
I'm
in
not
this
interested in
days in
this
months,
days
so
in
I can
month,
also
so I
remove.
can also remove.
So let's check,
So
do we
let's
have any
check. Do we have any
differences?
differences?
No.
No.
So let's
So
close
let's
and load.
close and load.
Now I'm not using
Now
close
I'm not
and
using
load, I'm
close
using
and
close
load. I'm
and
using
load 2.
close and load too.
And I'm going to explain
And
the
I'm
reason
going
why
to
I'm not
explain the
using
reason why
close
I'm not
and load,
using
because
close
you
and load,
observe most
because you
people
observe
use
most people
close
use
and load, not
close
close
and
and
load,
load
not
2.
close
So now
and load
if we
too.
are
So
using
now if we are
close
using
and load,
close
it
and load,
load
it
that
load
data
that
into
data
your Excel
into your
worksheet,
Excel
and it
worksheet,
limits the
and it
numbers of
limits the
data
numbers
you
of
can have.
data you can have.
You understand?
You
Because
understand?
Excel
Because Excel
capabilities,
capabilities,
I'm going to show us that
I'm going to show us that
you can only load
you can
data
only load
from
data
one
from
row
one
1
row
to,
one
I'm
to
coming,
upon
I guess
I
3,000
guess
and
three
something.
thousand and
Let's come to the
something.
last
Let's
cell.
come to the last
You can
cell.
see
You
you
can
can
see
only
you
load
can
data
only load
from
data
row 1
from row one
to
to
maybe
maybe
10,000, whatever we
10,000,
have here. You can
whatever we
see.
have here.
And there are
You can
sometimes
see.
you deal
And
with,
there are
let's say we are
sometimes you
dealing with
deal with, let's say we are
Nigerian
dealing
data
with
set
Nigerian
or
data set
African data
or
set that is
African data
beyond
set
this
that is
figure.
beyond this figure.
So how do we
So
tend to
how do
achieve
we
that?
tend to
And the
achieve that?
max
And the
column we
max
can do
column we
with
can do with is
XFD.
XFD.
XFD, you can see,
XFD. You
which
can
is
see,
telling us we
which
have
is telling us
limited
we have
data set. And
limited
come,
data
let's
sets.
look
And
at the
come, let's
numbers.
look at the numbers.
I want to tell you the
I
total
want to
numbers
tell
you
you the
can
total
deal with
numbers you
on
can
this
deal
end.
with on this end.
You can see we have
You can see we have
16,384,
16,384.
meaning that if I'm
Meaning
dealing
that
with
if I'm
column, the
dealing with column,
maximum
the
column I can
maximum
deal with
column I
is
can deal with
numbers of
is
column we can
numbers
deal
of
with is
column we
what,
can deal with is what?
16,384. But there are
16,384.
some data
But
we
there are
deal
some
with that are
data we
so
deal with that
large.
are so
So how
large.
do we tend
So
to
how
treat
do we
them?
tend to treat
So the
them?
best way to
So
treat
the
a
best way to
large
treat
data
a
set
large
is
data set
just
is just
loading it as
loading it
a
as
data
a
model. So it
data
won't show on
model.
your
So it won't show
workbook
on
at
your
all,
workbook
but you
at
have
all,
the
but
data
you have the
connected
data
to.
connected to.
So this is useful
So this
whenever you
is
are
useful whenever you are
connecting to a
connecting to a
database,
database,
maybe a company
maybe a
database,
company
and the company has
database,
been
and
in
the company has
existence for
been
about
in
40
existence for
years.
about
I
40
want to
years.
analyze to
I want
see
to
how things are
analyze to
going
see
on,
how
or you are
things are
dealing with
being run,
a
or you are
large
dealing with
store,
a
maybe
large
Walmart
store,
store,
maybe Walmart store,
Alibaba, you understand, or even
Alibaba, you
Jumia.
understand, or even
So
Jumia.
let's bring it to
Let's
our
bring it
understanding.
to our
Jumia's deal
understanding.
with a large data
Juniors
set
deal with a large
because they
data
deal
set
with a large
because they
people,
deal
they
with a
deal with
large
large
people,
numbers
they
of
deal with
people
large numbers
ordering
of
online.
people ordering
Now,
online.
in a
Now,
year
in a
alone,
year
they
alone,
can cover these
they can
figures we
cover
have
these
here.
figures we have here.
Now let's now say you are
Now let's
given a
now say you are
project to
given a
work on maybe
project
their
to work
five
on
years
maybe their
data set.
5 years
So
data
how do
set.
we intend to
So how
achieve
do you
that?
intend to
So the
achieve that?
best way to
So the
achieve
best way
that
to
is to
achieve
what?
that is to what?
Load those
Load
data
those
as
data as
model, not
model,
as
not
normal
as normal
sheet.
sheet.
So once you load them as
So once you load
model,
them
how
as
can you
model,
access
how
them?
can you
You can see we
access
have
them? You can see
data
we have
model
data
here. So
model
if you want to
here.
preview
So if you
them,
want to
since they
preview
are
them,
not showing on
since they
sheet,
are not
does
showing
not
on
mean you are
sheet,
not
does not
connected
mean
to
you are
them.
not connected
If you
to
want
them.
to preview
If
them,
you want
just
to
click on
preview
this
them,
data
just click on
model,
this data model,
manage data model.
manage data
Then
model.
it's going to
Then it's
populate
going to
where your
populate
data is.
where your data
So you
is.
can have a
So you
preview.
can have a preview.
So now we can see we
So
have
now we can
source
see we
name,
have
we
source
have
name,
order
we have
ID,
order
we have order
ID,
ID,
we
and
have
so on
order
and so
ID,
forth
and so
that
on and
we've
so forth
generated.
that we've
Then again,
generated.
we have
Then
other data
again, we
sets
have
with
other
what?
data sets
With load.
with load.
We can see them
We can see them
vividly.
vividly.
So now the next thing we
So
need to
now
do
the next thing
here
we need to
is
do
that
here
our
is
data
that
are not
our data
connected,
are not
they are
connected,
separated.
they are
So if
separated.
I want to
So
maybe
if
bring
I want to
something
maybe bring
from
something
customer
from
to
customer
this sales
to this
data,
sales
how can I do
data,
that?
how can can I do that?
One of the function we
One of the
usually
function we
use
usually
is
use
related,
is related.
and here I'll be
And here I'll
explaining
be
what we know
explaining
as
what we know as
what's it called,
what's it called?
add
Add
column, difference between
column.
add
Difference
column
between add column
and
and
measures.
measures.
as an
as
analyst,
an analyst,
a data
a
analyst,
data analyst,
a data
a
modeler,
data
you
modeler,
are
you are
expected to know the difference
expected
between
to know the
hard
difference
column
between hard colon
and a measure.
and a measure.
Now, observe,
Now,
here we are
observe,
having hard
here we are
column.
having hard
So what
colon.
does
So
hard
what
column
does hard
does?
colon
When do we
does?
need to use
When do
hard
we need to
column? You
use
need to
hard
understand.
colon? You need
Okay,
to
let me put
understand.
it here
Okay, let me
to make
put it
it
here
easier
to
for
make it
us.
easier for us.
What
What
does hard
does
column?
hard colon?
What does it
What
does?
does it does?
Then again,
Then
when
again,
do we need
when do we need
to use
to use
hard
hard
column?
colon?
We need to understand
You
this
need to
too.
understand
Now
this
there are
too.
sometimes you
Now,
don't
there are
use
sometimes you
with
don't deal
data
with
that
data that
there are sometimes we deal
there
with
are
data
sometimes
that
we
don't need
deal with data that don't
us
need
to
us to
populate them. That we
populate
only need
them.
to see
That
them
we
in
only
our
need to see
graph.
them in our
That is
graph.
when we use
That is when we
measures,
use
statements.
measures. Take note.
What hard column? One
What
of the
hard column?
disadvantage
One
of
of the
hard column is
disadvantage
that
of
it
hard
creates
column is that it creates
redundancy.
redundancy.
Take note.
Take note.
It creates
It creates
redundancy.
redundancy.
When I mean
When
redundancy,
I mean
data we don't
redundancy,
need
data we
that we
don't
could
need
easily use
that we could
measures
easily
to
use
take care
measures
of.
to
Let's
take
say for
care of.
instance now,
Let's say, for instance, now
I want to bring
I
in
want to bring in
our product
our product
price. I'm
price.
coming.
I'm coming.
I want to bring in our
I
product
want to bring in
price.
our product price.
I want to bring it to
I want to
sales.
bring it to sales.
The first thing I need to do
The
is
first
come
thing
to
I
my
need to do is come to
diagram
my
view.
diagram view.
You can see all my data
You
are
can
not
see all my
connected.
data
They are
are not
just
connected.
standing
They are
alone.
just standing
So
alone.
this is not
So this
a
is not
it's
a
not creating any
it's not
connection.
creating any
For
connection.
you to create
For you
connection,
to create connection,
what we need to do is
what we need to do
I'm
is
coming, we need to
I'm
create a
coming, you need to
relationship
create
between
a
all these
relationship between all these
dimensional table and
dimensional
fact table.
table and fact table.
Let me just bring it here.
Let me just bring it here.
Then we have sales people.
Then we have salespeople. Good.
Expand, ensure it's fitting.
Expand, ensure it's 15.
So how do we create
So
this
how do we
relationship? Don't
create
forget
this
the other time I
relationship?
was talking about
Don't forget the other
primary key and foreign key. So this is where our primary key comes in.
time I was talking
On
about
our customer
primary
on our customers
key
the
and
dimensional
foreign
table,
key. So this is where
customer
our
ID
primary
is a primary key. Take note of that.
key
Again,
comes
you
in.
observe that on
On
this
our
sales table, we
customer,
have
on our
customers
customers,
ID.
then
You can
we
see it
have
here also. So
customers
on this sales
ID.
table,
You can
it
see
is
it
a
here also.
foreign key.
So on
Why
this
is
sales
this a
table, it is a
primary
foreign
key?
key. So
Why
why
is this
is
a
this a
foreign key here?
primary
So
key
if
here?
you go
Why
to
is this
Google,
a
let's
foreign
go to
key here?
Google.
So if
You
you
can
go
see some breakdowns.
to
Let's
Google,
say you
let's
want
go
to
to
know
Google
the difference
and see
between
some
primary key and foreign key.
breakdowns. Let's say you want to know the difference between primary key and foreign key.
Then let's check the definition so we can see better.
Then let's
So
check
you
the
understand that it
definition so
says
we
a
can
primary
see
key is a
better.
uniquely
You understand that it says a
identifier.
primary key is a uniquely
Each row in the
identifier,
table, while a
each row
foreign
in
key
the table,
establish a
while a foreign key
relationship
establish
between the
a
tables
relationship
by referencing
between
the
the
primary
tables
key of another table.
by referencing the
So let's bring it here. So what this simply means that
primary
for each
key of
customer,
another
let's go
table.
to the data view.
Customer, let's go to the data view.
Customer table.
Customer
Now, for
table.
each
Now,
customer,
for
we've
each
assigned a
customer, we've
unique
assigned a
identity to
unique
them.
identity to them.
For JC
For
Evans, we've
JC Evans, we've
assigned a
assigned
identity
a
of
identity of
C1000 to him.
C1000 to
You know,
him.
it's just like
You know,
a
it's just
student
like
going
a
to
student
university.
going to university.
For any lecturer
For
to
any
identify
lecturer
that
to
student,
identify that student,
for any lecturer to
for any
identify that
lecturer to
student,
identify that
what they
student,
usually give to
what
that
they
student
usually give
is
to that student
for
is
for what
for what
for what
for what
a for what
a
the school assigned to
for what
that
the school
student is
assigned to
what we
that
call
student is
matric
what we
number.
call
So it
matric
is
number.
easy for
So it
any
is
lecturer
easy
to
for any
identify
lecturer to
that student's
identify that
identity.
student
They don't need to
identity.
start looking
They don't
for
need to start
maybe
looking for
Ojo
maybe
Kamoru,
Ojo
or they should
Kamoru,
start looking
or they should
for
start looking for
Afolabi Temitope.
Afolabi
What they need
Temitope.
to just
What they
assign
need
to
to
that
just
student
assign
is
to that student is
matric number. So
matric number. So
whenever the governors
whenever
of
the
the students
governors
or
of the
maybe the
students
class
or maybe the
representative
class
give
representative
the
give
matric
the
number
matric
for that
number
student
for
to the
that student
lecturer,
to the
they could
lecturer,
easily
they could easily
identify the
identify
department
the
of that
department
student.
of
It's
that
just as
student.
simple
It's just as
as that.
simple as that.
Identify the department
Identify
of
the
that student,
department of that
the name
student,
of the
the
student,
name of the
when the
student,
student
when the student was also
was
what
also
was also
matriculated inside
matriculated inside the
into the university.
into the
It's just as
university.
simple
It's
as
just
that.
as simple as that.
You understand?
You
So
understand?
now that
So
is what
now that is what
we have here
we
also.
have here
You know,
also.
using
You
the
know,
example of
using the example of
a
a student can
maybe
go to
management
maybe
science to take
management science
course.
to take
A
course.
student can go to
A student can go to
maybe sciences to
maybe
take
sciences
course.
to take
A
course.
student can also
A
go to
student can
maybe
also go to
other
maybe other
departments to
departments
take course.
to take
But
course.
once
But
the
once
student offend
the
any
student
lecturer
offend
right there or the
any
management,
lecturer right
what they
there
need
or
to
the
just ask there
management,
is the
what they
student
need to
matric
just ask
number.
there is
They
the
are good.
student
So
matric
that's
number.
what we
They
have
are
here
good.
also.
So that is
So
what we
it's
have
like
here also.
assigning a
It's like
customer ID
assigning
to
a
each
customer
customer
ID to
just to
each
be able
customer
to
just to be
identify
able to
that customer.
identify that customer.
You understand?
You
Just to be able
understand?
to
Just to be
identify
able
that
to
customer.
identify that customer.
So whenever we now
So
want to
whenever we
link,
now want to
we want to
link,
source
we
for
want to
that
source for that
customer, we just need to
customer,
know
we
the
just need to know
unique
the unique
identity given to that
identity given
customer.
to that customer.
You understand? We need
You
to
understand?
understand
We
the
need to
unique
understand the
identity
unique
given to that
identity given
customer.
to that
So once we
customer. So
understand the
once we
unique
understand the
identity, we
unique
are good.
identity, we
So
are good. So
on our sales
sales
table
table
where
where we have
repetition of
repetition
customers
of
coming to buy
customers
the same
coming to buy the
commodity,
same commodity,
where we have
where we have
repetition of customers
repetition of
coming to
customer
buy
coming
the
to
same
buy
commodity
the
or
same
different
commodity or
commodity, we
different
don't need to
commodity.
write
We don't need to write
JC
John
Evans.
JC
We just need
Evans.
to put
We
the
just need to put the
ID.
ID.
So whenever we want
So
to source
whenever we
for
want to
that
source for
customer,
that customer,
we just
we
go
just
back to the
go back to the
customer table, then
customer
locate
table, then
the
locate
customer.
the customer.
You understand? So it's
You
just as
understand? So
simple
it's
as
just
that.
as simple
So
as that. So on our sales, take
on
note.
our
On
sales
our
table,
sales
we will
table,
have
we will
repetition
have
of the same
repetition of the
ID.
same
Let me
ID.
give us
Let
an
me give us an
illustration.
illustration.
Let me uncheck
Let me
this.
uncheck
Then let me
this.
check
Then
this
let me check this
C1000.
C1000.
So you see that we
So
have
you see that
repetition
we
of
have repetition of
C1000. It
C1000.
means
It means
March
March
C1000,
C1000, which is that customer came to buy a
in July.
commodity in July.
Also
Also,
in July 6, he also came to buy another
in
commodity.
July
In June
6, he also
also,
came to
in
buy another
2021, he
commodity.
also came to
In
buy
June
another
also, in
commodity.
2021, he
In
also came to buy
March,
another
April,
commodity. In
February, March.
March,
So
April,
we can see
February,
now
March.
we have
So we can
different
see
time this
now we
customer
have
is coming to
different
buy
time
the
this
same
customer is
commodity
coming to buy the same
or the
commodity
same
or the same
item or
item
different items
or different items
if you have it.
if you have it.
But on our
But on
customer
our
table, if you want to
customer
know
table,
this
if you want to know
customer
this
that is coming to
customer
buy
that
this
is coming to
item,
buy
what we
this
just need to
item,
do is
what we
come
just need to
under
do is
customer,
come under customer,
then see that
then see
ID
that
assigned, meaning
ID
that
assigned,
JC
meaning that
Evans has
JC
come
Evans has
these
come
times we have
these
here.
times we have here.
You can see, right?
You can see,
So
right?
that's how
So
we
that
have.
is how we
So
have.
in this
So
sales
in this
data set,
sales
we call
data
this
set, we call
foreign
this
key
foreign key
because it's a repetition.
because it's a
It's occurring
repetition. It's
multiple
occurring
times. That's why
multiple
we call it
times.
foreign
That's
key.
why we call it foreign key.
Linking to the
Linking
unique
to the
identity given
unique
to that
identity
customer here,
given to that
known
customer
as
here, which is
primary
known
key.
as
So
primary
now
key.
let's come. Let
So
me
now
clear
let's
this
come,
filter.
let me clear this filter.
Then let's come to our diagram view and create the connection.
So what I need to do here is grant this customer ID, which is a unique
In the
identifier
customer's
in the
data set.
customer's data
Then
set.
come
Then come
to the
to the
customer ID
customer ID
under the sales
under
data
the
set.
sales data set.
You can see it has
You can
created
see it
a
has created
connection
a connection
within this
within
customer's
this
data
customer's
and
data
the
and
sales data.
the sales
So
data.
let's go back
So
to, I won't
let's
create
go
other
back to, I won't
connection
create other
because I need to
connection
do
because
further
I need to do
explanation.
further
So if I
explanation.
add a
So
column
if I
now,
add a column now,
let me add a column.
let me add a column,
Just double click.
just double click,
Then let me name
then let me
this
name this
customer name.
customer name.
When I click on add column,
Now
take note of that.
I click on add
So if
column,
I
take
want to
note of
bring
that.
in the
So if I want to
customer
bring
name
in the
related to
customer
that
name
customer
related to
ID, what I
that
need to do is
customer
just
ID,
use
what I need to do is
related.
just use
Related
related.
allow us,
Related
you can
allow
see
us to,
stating
you
that
can see
it
it's
returns
stating
a
that it
related
returns
value
a
from
related
another
value
table
from
that has
another table that
connection
has
with that
connection
existing
with
table.
that existing
So if I
table.
click on
So if I click
related,
on related,
you can see
You can see it's only giving me access to customer ID and customer name, despite we have other tables like location, product, and sales people. But since there is no connection between sales table and location, it's not giving us that option. Since there is no connection between product and sales, it's not giving us that option of bringing anything from that table. The same thing to sales people. It's just as simple as that. So it's only telling us that at the moment we only have connection between sales table and customer table. So if I want to bring the customer name now, all I just need to do is just double click on this, close that bracket and press enter. So you see automatically it's bringing me that name, that okay, Joan Rivera, and the real note, we have Justin Graham with that ID. So if you go and check that ID, let's go and check ID 1105, 1105. Who has at ID 1105? Yeah, this is 1105. You can see it is correct. So now you observe this is creating redundancy. That is where redundancy comes in. So coming back to my question, what does add column does? So add columns add new column using DAX. Take note, whatever thing I'm writing in this formula is known as DAX, which is data analysis expression. So it creates additional column. That is what add column does. But for measures does not create additional column. It creates a calculation for us, and that calculation or that sum or that aggregation shows whenever we are using a graph. I'm going to use an example so we can understand better. So add column, add new column. That is why we call it redundancy. It creates redundancy. You understand? And again, why do we need to use add column? So whenever we want to create, maybe we want to create discount for a specific customer. Maybe if that customer patronizes us more than 3 times, more than 2 times, we want to give discount. So we can use add column. In that kind of scenario, we'll be using conditional statement, which is if statement. Are we together? In that kind of scenario, we'll be using the if statement. But scenarios whereby we need to use aggregations. What do we mean by aggregations? Whenever we are talking about aggregation, we are talking about sum, we are talking about average, we are talking about adding, we are talking about multiplication. Then again, let me ask this question. I tend to observe that most of my students usually find it difficult to differentiate between sum and multiplication. So can someone tell me what's the difference between sum and multiplication? Can someone unmute his or her mic and tell me the difference between sum and multiplication? Or do I need to call someone? Do I need to call someone? Okay. So let me call Ajiboye Damilola. Are you on the call? If you're on the call, please can you tell us the difference between sum and multiplication? It's very simple. I believe everyone should know it now. The difference between sum and multiplication. We no longer have Ajiboye Damilola on the call again. Interesting. Do you have anybody who wants to answer that question? Sum. Okay. Mr. Emmanuel.
Good afternoon, sir. I just feel some is like the addition of two or more numbers, like the addition
Oh,
of cells.
exactly.
So, multi- yeah. So that is different. In some, we are adding the multiplication. We're like, it's like times two of that amount.
Exactly. God bless you. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
It's just
Thank
as
you.
simple
It's
as
just
that.
as simple as that.
So
So
when we talk about
when we talk
aggregation, we're
about
talking about
aggregation, we are talking
sum,
about
average,
sum,
add, and
average, add, and
multiplication.
multiplication.
So that is what we
So
usually
that is
use
what we
measures
usually
for.
use
Whenever we
measures
want
for.
to
Whenever we want to
do something
do
related
something
to
related to
aggregation,
aggregation, maybe
average,
sum,
add,
average, add,
multiplication,
multiplication,
sum x. We have
sum
other
x. We have
functions
other
that I might
functions
not be able to
that I might
touch.
not
We
be able
have
to
sum
touch. We
x.
have sum
We
x.
have
We have
max. We have
max.
mean.
We
These
have
are just some.
mean. These are
It's
just
just
some.
aggregation
It's just
functions
aggregation functions
or statistical
or
functions.
statistical
So,
functions. So,
but whenever we are
but
dealing with
whenever we are
add
dealing
column,
with
it's not
add
that
column,
add
it's not
column won't
that
do the
add
same
column
thing.
won't do
Add
the
column
same
will do
thing.
the
Add
same thing.
column will do the same
We
thing.
can use it to
You
generate
can use it to
maybe
generate
even
maybe
sum
even
of
sum
two
of two
columns, but it's
columns,
going to create
but
redundancy.
it's going to create
Redundancy in the sense
redundancy.
of it's
Redundancy
going
in
to
the
create
sense of
additional
it's going to
columns.
create
And what
additional
add
column.
columns does is
And
that
what
add
add
column
columns
is
does is that
column
add
wise.
column is column wise.
Is a row. When I
There
mean
is
row,
a
I mean
row.
one,
When
two,
I
three,
mean row,
four,
I
five,
mean
six,
one,
seven,
two,
eight
three,
to
four,
the
five,
last
six,
number.
seven, eight
It is
to the
row
last
wise.
number. It is row
So
wise.
it check if
So it
that thing is
check
true
if
in the
that thing is
first row,
true
then
in
give
the
us the
first
answer.
row,
Then
then
again
give
it
us the
does the
answer.
same thing for
Then
the
again,
second
it
row to
does
the
the
last
same
row.
thing for the second
Automatically,
row till the last row
we are still getting there.
automatically.
Let's finish our
We are still
diagram
getting there.
first.
Let's finish our diagram first.
Let's finish our
Let's
what's it
finish
called?
our
Our
what's
model.
it called?
So again, we need
Our
to drag our
model. So again, we
location.
need to drag our location.
Let's expand
Let's
this.
expand this.
We need to drag our location
We need to
ID.
drag our location ID.
We need to drag our sales
We need to
person
drag our
ID.
salesperson ID.
Then we need to drag our product
Then we
ID
need
to
to drag
create
our
a
product
connection.
ID to
Then
create a
again, you will observe
connection.
something.
Then
I
again,
need to
you will
explain two
observe
things here.
something. I need to
Now,
explain two things here.
if you are
Now,
asked
if you are asked
that what kind of connection
that
are we
what
creating
kind of
in this
connection
kind
are
of
we creating
data
in this kind of
diagram
data
view or data
diagram
model, it
view
is called a
or data model, it is
snowflakes.
called a snowflakes.
It's called a snow.
It's called a
It is called
snow.
a star
It is called a
schema.
star schema.
We have two type of connection,
We have two type of connection,
two type of data model or connection.
two type of data model or
Data
connection.
model connection.
Data model connection.
We have a star schema,
We
which
have
is
a
the
star
simplest
schema, which is the
one.
simplest one.
Then we have a
Then we have a
snow fleet
snow flakes
schema.
schema.
Now, what do I mean by star?
Now, what do
Star
I
means
mean by
that there
star?
is
Star
other
means that
dimensional
there
table
is other
relating
dimensional
directly to
table
the word fact
relating
table,
directly to the word
meaning that
fact
location
table.
is a
Meaning
dimensional
that
table. It's
location
giving
is a
us information
dimensional
about
table. It's giving
location.
us information about
Sales is telling us
location.
about our
Sales is
salespeople.
telling us about
Product
our
is telling us
salespeople.
about our
Product is
products.
telling us about
Customers is
our
talking about
products.
our
Customers is
customers.
talking about
So
our
they are all
customers.
connected to our sales
So
table. You
they are all
understand? But
connected
there
to
are
our
scenarios
sales
whereby
table.
we
You
have
understand? But there are scenarios
subcategory
whereby
products. We have product category. We
subcategory
have
products. We have product category. We have
subcategory whereby we need to create
subcategory whereby we need
a
to create
relationship between product
a relationship
category and
between product
subcategory. Product subcategory
category
before
and
connecting to
subcategory.
sales.
Product
Again, let me
subcategory
come to Google
before connecting to sales.
so we can
Again, let
see
me come
Google
to
should be
Google
our best
so
friend.
we can see.
When we talk
Google should
about
be our
snowflake
best friend.
schema, so
When we
let's
talk
check.
about
When we talk
snowflake
about
schema,
snowflake,
so
what
let's
does
check.
that mean?
When we talk about snowflakes, what does that mean?
You can see it's having different connection here. Let's check the
You can
images.
see it's having different connection here. Let's check the
You can
images.
see when we talk about
You
snowflakes.
can see when we
From
talk
this
about
picture, you should have
snowflakes.
understanding
From this
about what I
picture, you
mean.
should
It's
have
not coming
understanding about
direct.
what I mean. It's
We
not
are having
coming
other
direct.
branches.
It's having
But
other
when we talk about
branches.
star,
But when we talk about star,
from the word star, there is a central.
from the
You
word star,
understand? There is
there
a
is a
central.
central. You
At
understand? There
every
is a
point,
central.
every angle is
And every
connecting to that
point, every
central.
angle is connecting to that
So
center.
if you have
So
your time,
if you
because of our time,
have
I might not be
your
able to
time, because of
dive
our time, I might not be
deep
able to
into
dive
snowflakes
deep
schema.
into
That would be
snowflake
said in our
schema.
paid class.
That will be
Let me just
said in
Google
our paid
snowflakes
class.
and
Let
star
me just
schema,
Google the snowflakes and star schema.
because data model is
Because
extension.
data model
It's
is
really extension.
extension.
So let's see
It's
this.
really extension. So
You need
let's
to
see
understand
this.
data modeling.
You need
It's
to
really
understand
really
data
essential
modeling.
in
It's
data
really, really essential in
analysis.
data analysis.
show us a picture
I want to show us a pictures
that explain more better.
that explain more better.
So let's just exactly.
So let's
Now, see this. This is a star schema.
now
So when you
see
have
this.
some
This is a
tables
star schema.
that are
So when we have
connecting to the
some
center.
tables that are connecting to the
Then
center,
again, for a snowflakes
one. Then again, for a
snowflakes schema, we have a
snowflake
data or
schema,
which is our
we have a
fact
data
table
of
connecting to
fact
another table,
table
and that table is also
connecting to another
connecting
table,
to
and
other
that table is
tables.
also
You can see.
connecting to other
So
tables.
it's
You
not
can
a
see.
direct relationship.
So
You're
it's not a
having
direct
different
relationship. We're
directional
having different
relationship that
directional
are still now coming back to
relationship
the
that are still
center.
now coming
So that's
back
the
to the
difference
center.
between star
So that's the
schema and
difference between star
snowflake
schema
schema.
and snowflakes schema.
You can just check at your leisure time.
You
You
can
see
just
you
check
have
at
fact
your leisure
table
time. You see,
connected
you
to
have
a
fact
specific
table
table, and that table
connected
is also
to a
connected to
specific
other
table, and that table
tables.
is also connected to
Though I might
other
not be using
tables.
an illustration of
So I might not be using an
illustration of snowflake
illustration
schema.
of
This is a
snowflake
very
schema.
typical
This is
example of
a
star
very
star
typical
schema.
example of
All
star
tables
star
connecting to the
schema.
center.
All tables
So
connecting to
we've
the
created all
center.
our connections now.
So we've created all our connections
I
now.
don't need this. I'll really just use
I
this
don't need
for
this. I'll really just use
illustration.
this
So let
for
me just delete
illustration
this.
sake. So let me just delete it.
So next thing I want to create
So
now is that I
next
want
thing
to
I want to
create
create now
three
is that
things.
I want to create three things.
If that is what I'll be able to achieve
That is
before
what
the
I'll
end of
be able
the
to
class,
achieve
because
before the
I
end of
want
the
a
class,
situation
because
whereby all
I
students
want a situation
understand whatever I'm doing.
whereby
Data might be complex,
by
but
all
if you
students never
understand the
I'm doing.
basics,
That might be
you are good
complex, but if you
to
understand the
understand.
basics,
Though
you are
some
good
people
to
might
go.
be
You
saying,
understand?
okay,
Though some
they
people
are
might
not
be
taking them
saying,
since the
okay,
free class,
they
they
are
are
not
not
taking
taking
them
them
since it's a
Power BI,
free class, they are
MySQL.
not taking them
That is not good.
Power
Yes,
BI,
you might think that,
MySQL, and
but
that is not
even
good.
if you know
Yes, you
Excel,
might think
you
that.
are very,
But
very,
even
very
if
good
you know
in most
Excel, you are
organizations.
very, very, very
Once
good
you are
in
very
most
good,
organizations.
conversant with
Once you are very good conversant with Excel,
once you are conversant with Excel, because in
once
every
you are
organization you
conversant
find
with Excel,
yourself to,
because in every
maybe
organization
in
you
a
find
data
yourself today,
region,
maybe in
even in
that
some offices,
data
administrative posts,
region,
you
even
understand
in
that you
some
still have to
offices,
use Excel.
administrative posts,
Are
you
you a
understand
data
that you still
person, a
have to use
finance person? You
Excel.
still just have to understand that
Are you
Excel.
a
You
data person,
understand?
a
So
finance
we
person?
just
You
need
still
to
just
start with
have
the
to understand
basics
that
before
Excel. You
going to
understand?
BI,
So we just
Power
need to start
BI,
with the basics
MySQL.
before
There's
going to
nothing there.
BI,
It's
Power
just that
BI,
us
MySQL.
understanding the
There's nothing
basics
there.
first.
It's
So
just that
now I want
us
to create a measure.
understanding the
You know, I
basics
said
first.
I still
So
need to
now
create
I
a
want to
measure
create
so
a
we can
measure. You know, I
understand
said
how
I
it
still need
works.
to create a
I've
measure so we
created
can
an
understand how it
I've
works.
created add
I've
column
created an
before, so you know how to
I've
create
created
columns.
add column
This
before,
same
so you know
feature
how
that we
it
see here
works.
is also
These same
applicable to
features
Power
that we see
BI.
here is also applicable to Power BI.
That won't just permit me to open my
That
Power
won't
BI for
just
you to
permit
see,
me to
but it's still
open my
also in
Power
Power
BI for
BI.
you to
So
see.
once you
But it's
understand
still
the
also in
basics
Power
here,
BI. So
going to
once you
Power BI you
understand the
can
basics here,
replicate
going to Power BI,
replicate
you
the
can
same. So
replicate
now we need
replicate
to
the
create
same.
some
So now
measures.
we need to create
Now,
some
what are the
measures.
measures I want to
Now,
create?
what
I
are the
want to
measures
create
I want to create?
profit
I want to create
for the company.
profit
You know there's no
for
profit
the
here. We
company.
only
You know,
see
there's no profit here.
quantity,
We only see
purchase date,
quantity,
product price,
purchase
product
date,
cost.
product
Then
price,
again, I want to
product
know the
cost.
cost
Then again, I want to know the
of
cost of
each product, or let's say the cost
each
of
product,
sales.
or let's say the cost of
Then also I
sales.
want to know our
Then
revenue.
also I want to know our
Those are the
revenue.
common things we need to know,
Those
but
are
they
the
are not
common
given
things
in
we
our
need to know,
data.
but they are
But
not
there's
given
a
in
way
our
we can
data. But
get
there is
them
a way we
using
can
either
get
add
them
column.
using either
But you
add
just need to
column.
note that if you are using add column, it's going
But
to
you just
create
need to note that
redundancy.
if you are using add
But
column, it's going to create
you can also use
redundancy.
what
But
measures,
you
but
can
you
also
won't
use
just
what
see them, but
measures,
they will
but
be
you won't
created.
just see them, but
So now let's
they will
come
be
down to
created. So now
this.
let's come down to
Let's come down to
this.
this. So let's
Let's come down
first
to
start
this.
with
So
add
let's
column.
first
I
start
want
with
to
add
create
column. I
a
want to create a
revenue. So how can I
revenue.
create my
So how can I
revenue?
create
The
my
first thing is our
revenue?
revenue.
The first thing is our revenue.
I want to create my revenue.
I want to create my
So
revenue.
again, in
So
our simple
again, in our
calculation,
simple
for
calculation,
even a
for
typical
even
SMEs,
a
which is small
typical
to medium
SMEs, which is small
enterprise,
medium
you know that for them to
enterprise,
calculate
you know that for
revenue,
them
it
to
is
calculate
price
revenue, it
times
is price
the quantity
times
they sold.
the quantity they
And for them
sold.
to know their profit,
And for them to
it
know
is
their
what?
profit,
Profit is what?
it is what?
Can someone
Profit is
tell us
what? Can
how
someone
to
tell
get
us
profit in that
how to get
class?
profit? Let me ask
Who can
that
tell us how
first.
to generate
Who
profit?
can tell us us how to generate
The
profit.
formula for
The
profit.
formula for profit.
Do we have anybody in the house that
Do
want
we
to
have
help
anybody in the
us
house
out?
that want to help us out?
Mr. Oluwole, are you there?
Mr. Oluwole, are you
Sir,
there?
I didn't get your question, sir.
Profit. The normal
Profit.
formula for
The
profit.
normal formula for profit.
I would love someone else
I would
to
love
talk.
someone else to talk.
I would love someone else to talk.
I would love someone else to talk.
Isaac
Isaac
Oluwabukumi. Are you there?
Oluwabukumi.
Can you just unmute
Are
your
you
mic
there?
and
Can you
talk?
just
Okay,
unmute your
Mr.
mic and
Oluwole.
talk? Okay, Mr.
Yeah,
Oluwole.
So
I'm into
how
sir.
how
So
can we
how
get profit?
how can we get profit?
How can we
Yeah,
get
what they call
profit?
it?
How can we get
You
Your
said
profit?
revenue minus cost of
You said
sales.
exactly.
Revenue minus cost of sales.
exactly.
Thank you. So it is revenue minus. We just
Thank
have
you.
to
So it
understand
is
this
revenue
basics. It is
minus. We just
revenue
have to
minus
understand
cost
this basics, which
of
is revenue
sales.
minus cost
Then
of
again, for
sales.
cost of
Then
sales,
again, for
cost of
cost
sales
of
is also
sales,
simple.
cost of sales is also simple.
But one thing we need to
But
understand is
one
that
thing we need to understand
sometimes
is
we
that
need to understand this
sometimes you
cost
need
of
to
sales
understand
what is driving it. You
this
will
cost of
understand
sales,
something
what is
in the
driving
product
it. You will
data
understand
that we
something
have
in
cost
in the
and we have
product
original
data
price.
that we
In a situation whereby we don't have
have
cost, that we only have
costs,
original
that we only
price,
have original
that's when we
price.
can go
That is
with
when
some
we can
formulas
go with
like
some
maybe
formulas like
for us to
maybe
get
for
cost
us
of
to
sales,
get
we can see maybe
cost of
sales
sales. We
price
can see maybe
multiplied
sales
by
price
units
multiplied by
sold.
units sold.
But in a situation where we
But in
have
a
the
situation
cost
where we
price,
have the
so
cost
for us to
price,
get the
so
cost
for
of
us to get
sales,
the
it is
cost of
the
sales, it
cost
is the cost
multiply by what?
multiplied by
The
what?
quantity
The
or units.
quantity or units.
You can see we have the
You
unit
can see
here,
we have the unit here,
which is the same thing as
which is the same thing
quantity.
as
Quantity.
quantity.
Sorry for that. So we have our
Sorry for
price
that. So we
times
have our
quantity,
price
which is
times
sales
quantity,
price
which is sales price
times quantity.
times quantity.
Yes. So now let's try and
Yes.
calculate
So
this. So the
now
first
let's
thing we
try
need to
and
calculate here is
calculate
our
this. So
revenue.
the first thing we
So
need to
let's create
calculate here is our
add.
revenue. So
So
let's
let's use
create
that column to
add.
calculate that.
Let's
Then
use
again,
that
I'm still
column to
going to use
calculate that. Then again, I'm still going to use what's it called?
I'm going to use
I'm going to use
I'm going to use
I'm
measures.
going to use
So for us to
measures.
calculate this,
So
again
for
we
us to
need to take note
calculate
of
this,
something.
again, we need to take note
In
of
my
something.
notepad, we have
In my
sales price,
notepad, we have
and
sales
sales price is
price,
not on our
and
sales
sales price is
table
not on
here.
our
We don't have
sales
sales
table.
column now.
Yeah,
We
we
have
don't have
source
sales
name,
column now.
order
We have
name,
source name,
product
order
ID,
name,
location
product
ID,
ID,
then we have all this. So our
location ID, then we
sales
have
price
all this.
is
So
on our
our
product
sales price
table.
is on
So for
our
us to get that,
product
we need to
table.
use
So
related,
for us to get
because
that, we
if
need
we
to use
start typing
related.
products here, it
Because
won't
if
bring
we
anything
start
like
typing
product price.
products here, it
And
won't
I've
bring anything
mentioned
like
earlier that
product
for us to
price.
bring
And I've
anything from other table, we need to
mentioned
use
earlier that for
related.
us to bring
So once
anything
we
from
type
other
the
table, we
related
need to use
function, it's
related.
going to give
So
us
once we
access
type
to
the
our
related function,
connected,
it's going to give us
other
access to
connected table. So just scroll down, locate your product price.
our connect
So we can
your
see we have
product
original
price.
price from
So
the
we can see
product
we have
table.
original
Press tab.
price from the
So once
product
you've done
table.
that, close
Press
that
tab.
bracket.
So once
So
you've done
again,
that, close that
multiply
bracket.
by, we said
So
is
again,
what?
multiply by,
Product
we
price,
said is what?
sales price multiplied by
Product
quantity. So
price, sales
multiply
price.
by quantity. Okay.
Okay.
So what do we
So
have?
what do we have?
Now we see it gave us
So
all the what? All the revenue. This
now we see it
is
give
what
is what
136 revenue we are
136
making from
revenue we
this
are making
first
from this
customer based
first
on this
customer based
sales.
on this sales.
What we have here,
What
what
we
we have
have
here,
here,
what we
what we
have
have
here,
here,
what we
what
have
we
here.
have
You
here,
can see.
what we have
If you
here.
keep
You can
scrolling
see.
down,
If
you
you keep
have the
scrolling
values.
down, you have the
Keep
values.
having the values.
Keep having the values.
So now we've done
So
that using
now
add
we've done
column.
that
How
using
can we also
add
do this
column. How
using
can we also do this
measures?
using
So for us to use
measures?
measures, what we
So
need to
for
do
us
is
to
just
use
click
measures,
on
what you
any
need to
of
do is
these
just
cells
click
below.
on any
You
of
can
these
see there is
cells
a
below.
partition
You
here.
can see there's a partition here.
There's a partition here. So you can
There's
use
a
any of
partition
those
here.
cells
So you can
below.
use any of those
Or
cells
you
below,
can just come back
or
to
you can just come back
your
to
Excel sheet,
your Excel sheet,
come down to pivots,
come down
then
to
you see
pivots,
measures.
then you see
Let me start with
measures.
this.
Let me
Create new
start with
measure.
this. Create
So
new measure.
I want to create
So I
revenue
want to
again,
create revenue again,
and I want to call this revenue
and I want to call this revenue
measures, which is let me use
measures,
M.
which is, let me use
So
M. So
sorry, that should be table name, which is
sorry,
sales.
that should be table name, which is
Then this is
sales.
the
Then
measure
the
name. The
revenue,
measure
which
name
is
should
the
be
measure name. The measure name should
revenue,
be revenue
which is M. Towards the description, we need to add
measures,
description
which
if
is
you want
M.
to add, which
Towards
is
the description, we need to add description
let's
if
say
you want to add, which is a
total
revenue,
sales,
or let's say
total
total
sales
sales. You can just say
for
total
XYZ.
sales for XYZ.
Maybe for the company, I mean
Maybe
for the
for the
company, let's say
company,
for
I mean for the
XYZ.
company, that is what
So
I mean
now
by
what do we
XYZ. So
what
now,
we want
what
to
do we
use
need
here
to
is,
do? What we want to use here is,
again, we need to use related,
again, we need to use
related
related, related
product price
product price
multiply by
multiply
quantity.
by
Now,
quantity.
one thing I
Now,
need to do here is I want to
one
let
thing
it
I need
wrap
to
it
do
up
here
with
is I
some
need to wrap
X.
it up with
So
some
let me delete
X.
this.
So
So we
let
need
me
to understand
delete
how does
this.
some
So we need
X
to
works.
understand how does some
Some
X
X
works.
return
Some
sum of an
X return
expression
sum of an
evaluated
expression
for each row in
evaluated
a
for
table. Take
each
note.
row in a
So
table.
what
Take
that is
note.
telling us
So
that
what
some X
that
will
is
help
telling us
us
that
evaluate each
some
row.
X will help
It will
us
evaluate
evaluate
this
each,
row, give us the
it will
answer.
evaluate
Evaluate this
this
row,
row,
give us
give
the
us the
answer.
answer,
That is how some
evaluate
X
this row,
works.
give us
So
the
the
answer.
first
That is how some X works. So the
argument
first
under some X is
argument
table.
under some X
For the
is
first
table.
statement,
For
we
the
can see
first
we have
statement,
table, we have
we can see we have
expression.
table,
So
we have
under table,
expression.
what we are
So
dealing with
under
is
table,
the
what we are
sales
dealing
table.
with is what? The
Then the first
sales
thing we want to
table.
bring is related
Then the first
from,
thing we
we
want
want
to
to
bring
bring
is
product price
related
from
from
order
product
table,
price from
right?
order,
Multiply by what? Our
right?
quantity
Multiply by what? Our
from the sales
quantity
table. So if we are
from the
done
sales
with
table.
this formula,
So if we are done with
we
this
can check
formula,
if the formula is right.
we
Once you
can
click on
check
check,
if the
you see
formula is
it's
right.
stating there is no
Once
what,
you click
there is
on
no
check,
error
you
in the
see it's
formula.
stating there is no what?
Then the
There is
next
no
thing you need
error
to
in
do
the
is under
formula.
this category,
Then the
you
next
want
thing you
to
need to do is
tell
under
us
this
how
category,
your, you want to
you
tell
want to
Excel
tell us
how
how
this
your, want to tell
revenue
Excel
should what
how
populated.
this
It should be
revenue should be
populated in
what
terms of
populated.
number, not
It should be
dates.
populated in
Then you
terms
don't
of
want it
number,
in
not
decimal
date.
number. You want
Then you
it
don't want
as
it in
whole
decimal
number.
number. You
Then
want
it should be
it as
separated by
whole
what? By
number.
comma.
Then it should
So
be
if I click
separated by
OK
what?
now,
By comma. So
you
if
can
I
see
click
nothing is
OK
showing.
now,
That does
you
not
can
mean
see
I've not
nothing is
created
showing.
anything.
That
Now
does
let's
not
say
mean
I
I've
go
not
back to
created
our
anything.
data
So
manage.
let's
Now you
go
see it
back to
has
our
created
data manage. Now you see it has created
a new revenue
a
for us here,
new
but it's not showing
revenue for
at
us
this
here, but
region.
it's not showing at this
Take note
region.
of that. If I
Take
expand
note
this
of
now,
that. If I
it's giving
expand
me
this
what?
now,
This value of what? 25
it's giving me what? This
million,
value of
25
millions,
million
25
668
million six
thousand
hundred and 68
859.
thousand 859.
That's the value we have here. How
That is
can
the
we
value we have here.
confirm if the
How
value we
do we
have here
confirm
tally
if
with
the
what we
value we
have here?
have here
It's very
tally
simple.
with what we have
You
here?
can
It's
also
very
create
simple.
another
You can
revenue.
also
Let's
create
create another
another
revenue.
revenue. Let's create
Now
another
take note.
revenue.
I want to use
Now
measures
take
now
note. I
again
want to use
to sum up
measures now
all
again
what
to
we have
sum
here.
up all of
So
what we
let's say
have here.
sum of
So let's say sum of
revenue
revenue
of add column, right? So
of
it
add
will be,
column, right? So it will
take
be,
note, there will be
take
semicolon
note, there will be semicolon
equals,
equals,
take note of that.
take note
Then
of that.
sum x. We
Then
want to
sum
sum
x, want to
we want to
sum
sum
want to sum
all our revenue on
all
our
our
table.
revenue on our table.
All this
Take
revenue
note, all this revenue.
and click enter.
You click enter.
Now if you check the value now, let me
Now if you check
ensure
the
that
value,
it's
let me
separated by
ensure that
comma,
it's separated by comma,
then O number.
then whole
Let's
number.
expand this a
Let's
little
expand
bit.
this
You
a
can see we
little
don't
bit.
have difference
You can
between
see we
these
don't
two
have
numbers.
difference between
That's why
these
we
two
are summing
numbers.
this add
That's why
column.
we are
So the
summing this
difference
add
between
column.
the two is
So the
that
difference
one is
between the
just
two is that one is just
showing here, and it will
showing
only
here,
give us
and
more
it will only give
explanation
us more
if we are
explanation
just
if we are
using
just
graph. If we
using
plot
graph.
a graph
If
now
we plot a
using
graph
this
now
revenue,
using
it's
this
going to give
revenue,
us
it's going to give us
detailed explanation
detailed
of the breakdown
explanation
based
of
on
the
maybe
breakdown
product
based on
name,
maybe
location
product
name.
name,
That is what
location name.
measures is
That is
for.
what measures is
Measures
for.
only give us
Measures only
detailed
give us
explanation
detailed
on
explanation
graph.
on graph.
But when we talk about
But
add column,
when we
add
talk about
new column,
add column, add
and it
new
creates
column,
redundancy. Most
and
times
it
we
creates
don't need to create
redundancy. Most times we don't
new
need to create
columns. It's
new
unnecessary.
columns.
So
It's
mostly
unnecessary. So mostly, whenever we deal with
we use
aggregation,
measures. Take
we
note
use
of that.
measures. Take note
In
of that.
analytics,
In
whenever we are dealing with
analytics, whenever we are
aggregations,
dealing
we
with
use measures.
aggregations, we
And
use
whenever we are
measures.
dealing
And
with
whenever we are
conditional
dealing with
statements, maybe we
conditional
want to give
statements, maybe
discount
we
to
want to give
employees,
discount to
maybe we want to
employees,
know
maybe we
if a
want to
certain
know if
company
a
plays
certain
Champions League
company
or
plays
not,
Champions League or
maybe
not,
if you want to
maybe
give
if you want to give
promotions to
promotions to
employees, you understand?
employees, you
So we want to know
understand?
those that
So
are
we want
doing
to know
fine,
those that are
or we
doing
want to
fine,
give
or we want to give
bonuses to our salesperson
bonuses to
based on
our
their sales
salesperson based on
targets.
their sales
So
targets.
that is when we use,
So that is when we
those
use,
examples are
those examples
conditional.
are conditional.
It is based
It
on
is
certain
based
tasks
on certain
achieved.
tasks
That is when we use
achieved. That is when we use
add colon.
add
But whenever
column.
we are dealing with
But whenever we are
aggregation,
dealing with
take note of that. We
aggregation,
use
take
what?
note of that, we
We
use what?
use
We use
measures. So we don't
measures.
need this
So
again.
we
I
don't
can
need
also
this again. I
delete
can
that.
also
I only
delete
do
that.
that just
I
for the
only do
sake
that
of
just for the
calculation.
sake of calculation.
So majorly, I'll
So
be using
majorly, I'll be
measures.
using
So
measures.
again,
So
let's
again,
go to
let's
the
go
next thing we
to
have on our
the
list.
next thing we have on our
We need to
list.
calculate
We need to
cost
calculate
of sales.
cost of sales.
So for me to
So
calculate the cost
for
of
me to
sales, I'm
calculate
going
the
to throw
cost
the
of
question
sales,
to
I'm
the
going to
house
throw the question to the house
to be sure everybody's
to be sure
following.
everybody is
Now,
following.
who can walk me
Now, who
through
can
how to
walk me
create
through
the
how to
cost
create
of
the cost
sales?
of sales?
Who can walk me through how
Who
to
can
create
walk me
the
through how
cost
to
of
create the
sales?
cost of sales?
The person is going to
The
tell me
person is going to tell me do this, do
while I
this, do this,
replicate
while
it
I
and check
replicate it
if that
and
is
check
correct.
if that is correct.
We've done for
We've
revenue.
done for revenue.
After cost of
After
sales,
cost
then we
of
can move to
sales, then we can
profit.
move to profit.
So who is
So
ready
who is ready
to walk me through how
to
to go
walk me
with
through
cost
how
of
to go
sales?
with cost of sales?
Do we have anyone
Do
who
we
is
have
willing to
anyone who is willing to
volunteer, or I shall
volunteer
just continue?
or I should just continue?
Okay, since there is no one
Okay, since there is
volunteering,
no
let
one
me just
volunteering, let
continue
me just
because of our
continue
time.
because of our time.
So now we want to
So
calculate
now we want to
cost of
calculate
sales. So
cost
instead
of
of typing it in full,
sales.
I
So
will
instead
just
of
use
typing it in full, I will just use
COGX.
COGX.
So we want to create a new
So we
measure
want to
which
create
is
a new measure which is
COGX
COGX
colon
colon
equals, again that
equals,
should be what,
again that should be what,
related.
related.
We want to bring our
We want to bring our
products
products
cost
cost
multiplied by
multiplied by the
quantity.
quantity.
And again we are wrapping up
And
with
again, we are
some
wrapping up with
x.
some X.
Then enter.
Then enter.
So now we see the
So now
total
we see the
cost.
total cost.
Then again we need to do some
Again, we need to do some
formatting, separated by
formatting,
comma,
separated by comma,
o number.
O number.
So the next thing
So the
is
next thing is
profit. So to
profit.
get our profit
So to
again,
get
we need
our
to create
profit again, we
another
need to create another
measure, which is
measure,
profit
which is profit,
equals
because
revenue
revenue minus, which is hyphen,
cost of
cost
goods
of
sold.
goods sold.
Okay.
Okay,
So now we have the
so now we
profits.
have the profits.
So if you want to
So
keep
if you want to
creating
keep creating
another
another
measures,
measures,
you
you
can
can
just
just
add
add
as
as
many
many
as
as possible.
possible. You can keep scrolling
You can
down,
keep
keep
scrolling
adding.
down, keep adding.
So
So
once you want to see them,
once you
you
want to
just
see
start
them, you
creating
just
your
start
dashboard.
creating your
Keep
dashboard.
seeing your
Then keep
revenue,
seeing your
cost of goods
revenue,
sold,
cost of goods sold,
profit as
profit
calculated.
as calculated.
So do we have any
So do
question
we
on
have any
that?
question on that?
Before I continue, do
Before
you
I
have anyone
continue, do
who
you
have
have
any
anyone who have
question?
any question?
Do we have anyone
Do
who
we
have
have
any
anyone who have
question?
any
This is
question? This is
12:30.
12:30.
Do we have anyone
Do we
with
have
any
anyone with
question?
any question?
Is it
Is it
understandable? Can I
understandable?
continue? If
Can
I
I
can
continue?
continue,
If I
just use
can
the chat
continue, just use
box
the chat box.
to just say it is
To just say it is
understandable. Continue.
understandable, continue.
Are we all together?
Are we all together?
Okay.
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 Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So let's
Thank
continue.
you. So let's continue.
So now we have revenue, cost
So
of
now
goods
we
sold,
have
we have
revenue, cost
profit. So what else do we need to create?
of goods
Let's
sold,
check.
we have profits.
We
So
have
what
our
else do we need to
location, we have
create?
our
Let's
product, we
check.
have our sales
We have our
speed.
location, we have our product, we have our
So
sales
now
speed.
the next thing we
Okay.
need to do now is
So now
move
the
on
next thing we
to
need to do now
our
is move on
dashboard.
to our
So we need to
dashboard.
start creating
So
our
we need to start
dashboard.
creating
So
our
let me create
dashboard.
two
So let me
sheets.
create two
Let's
sheets.
call this our
Let's call this our
analysis sheet.
analysis sheet.
Then let's call this our
Then let's call this our
dashboard.
dashboard.
So in our
So
dashboard,
in
the
our
first thing we need to
dashboard,
do
the
is we
first thing we
don't
need
need
to do is
grid
we don't need
lines.
grid lines.
All these grid lines are
All
not
these grid lines
necessary.
are not
Let
necessary.
me collapse
Let
this
me
also.
collapse this also.
So remove the
So
grid
remove
lines.
the grid lines.
After removing the grid
After
lines,
removing the grid
ensure
lines,
your cell is in
ensure your cell
cell
is in
A1
cell
and
A1.
highlight it to cell
Highlight it
A2
to
using
cell
your
A2
shift.
using your
Then
shift.
press Ctrl
Then press Ctrl
or Shift. Then
or Shift. Then
highlight till
highlight
W.
till
So
W.
once you highlight
So
till
once
W,
you
you have to
highlight
start
till
creating
W,
your
you want to start creating
dashboard
my
environment.
dashboard
So add
environment.
a
So
column, which
add
is
a
this
column,
color,
which
this
is
green.
this
Green.
color, this
Because
green.
if you check the dashboard we
Because
are
if you
meant to
check the
create, we
dashboard
have
we are
that
meant
kind
to
of
create,
green.
we have that
Then
kind
we
of
have this
green. Then we
dashboard,
have this
deep insight
dashboard, deep
or profit
insights,
analysis.
or profit analysis.
So that is the first thing we need to create.
So that is the first
So
thing we need to
after doing
create.
that, we need to create
So
a
after doing
text
that, we
box.
need to create a
So we come
text
under
box.
insert,
So we come under insert,
create text box.
create text box.
So let's just drag it here.
So let's just drag it here.
Then let's name this
Then let's name this
dash
dash
box. Let's check the case.
box. Let's check the
So
case
that is
used.
title
That
case,
is title case,
dashboard. We
dashboard.
have
So we have
18
18
bold.
bold.
To change the color
To
to
change the
white.
color to white.
Again, take note. There is
Again, take
difference
note. There
between
is difference between
fill color
fill
and
color and
front color. So what I
front
just did
color.
is
So what I
fill
just did is
color,
fill
which is meant to be
color,
no
which is
fill,
meant to be no
and the
fill,
front color is meant
and
to
the
be
font color
white.
is meant to be white.
Bring it to the top.
Bring it to the top.
Let's just grab it
Let's
here.
just drag it in.
And let me expand it
And
a
let me
little
expand
bit.
it a little bit.
Let's call this.
Let's call this.
Let's
Let's
make
make
this
this
24.
24.
So the next thing we need
So
to
the next
do
thing we need to do
is to bring in
is
our
to bring in
icon.
our icon.
So I need to
So I
explain
need to
if you are dealing
explain.
with
If you are dealing
icon,
with icon,
whenever
whenever
on
you are
recent
on
Excel
recent
sheets
Excel
or
sheets or
recent Microsoft
recent
Office,
Microsoft
there's
Office, there's
a region
a
we have
region we have
icons.
icons.
So once you click on
So
the
once you click
region,
on the region,
you have to be
you have
connected
to
to
be
the
connected
internet
to the
to
internet
access this
to
option.
access this option.
It's going to give you
It's going
access
to
to
give you
all
access
these
to all
icons we
these
have here.
icons we have here.
So you can see the
So we can
options we
see
have
the
here. So
options we
let's
have
check
there. So
the
let's
one
check
we have
the
here.
one we have
There's
there. That is
a sign
a sign
related to this.
related to this.
So once you click
So
it,
once you
you
click
can
it,
just
you
insert.
can just insert.
So you see that.
So you see
Then
that,
bring it here.
then bring it
You
here.
have to ensure you
But
are
you have to ensure
connected
you
to
are
the internet.
connected to
Take note of
internet.
that.
Take note of that.
You have to be
You have
connected
to
to
be
the
connected
internet
to the
for you to
internet
access
for
that
you to
features.
access that features.
Then
Then you can always change the
color. So
color.
graphic,
So graphic,
you can see where we
you
have
can see where we
graphics
have
field,
graphics field,
graphics outline.
graphics outline.
So you can change
So
the
you can
color.
change the
Even can
color.
come to
Even can come
home,
to home,
change the
change the
fill
fill
color
color
to
to
white.
white.
You
You
can
can
change
see
it to
you
any
can
color
change
you
it to
feel
any
like.
color you feel like.
Change this to white.
Change this to white.
Then we need to create
Then we
other
need to
things.
create other
Again,
things.
you will observe
Again,
our
you will
dashboard
observe
is
our
showing
dashboard is
outline.
showing
We don't need
outline.
any
We don't
outline.
need any
So
outline.
come to
So
under
you come to
shape
under
format.
shape format.
Under the shape format,
Under the shape
remove
format,
shape
remove
outline.
shape
Just make it
outline.
no
Just make
outline.
it no outline.
Then reduce this.
Use this. So let's check again. What do we
we
need
need
to
to
do?
create
We
these
need to create these
icons.
icons.
We need to create
We
this
need to create
icon
this
for
icon
the
for
product,
country, product,
customer, transaction,
customer,
and date.
transaction, and date.
So how do we create
So
that?
how
I've
do we
made
create that?
things
I've made
easier for us,
things
for
easier
those that
for us, for
might
those
not
that
have access
might
to
not have
internet.
access to
There is
internet.
an Excel
There
sheet
is
I
an
send
Excel sheet
related
I
to
send related
icon.
to icon.
So we have all the
So we have
icons that
all
will
the
be
icons
needed.
that we'll be
So what you
needing.
just need to
So
do
all
is
you
just
just need to
click,
do is just click,
hold your control
hold
key,
your control
click
key,
others,
click others,
click,
click,
then copy.
then copy.
Control C to
Control
copy,
C to copy,
then come here and
then
paste.
come here and paste.
So once you paste,
So
you can
once you
just
paste, you can just
ensure it's aligned
ensure it's
well.
aligned well.
So once you've done
So
that,
once you've done that, just type out
this location
this
using text
location
box.
using
So we need to
text
create
box. So
another
we need to
text
create
box.
another text box
To
again.
come under
To come
insert,
under the
another text
insert
box.
another text box.
So we have text
So
box
we
for
have text box for
location.
location.
Again, what do we have
Again,
after
what do we have
location?
after location?
We have
We have
we have
we have
countries.
countries.
Let's duplicate.
Let's duplicate. So for it to
I guess this is
duplicate,
having
I guess this
outline.
is having outline.
Let me remove
Let me
the shape
remove the
outline.
shape outline.
So
So for it to duplicate, ensure you click out, click in,
then press Ctrl
then
D.
press Ctrl D.
So you can use that to
So you can use that
duplicate.
to duplicate.
So after
So
country
after
we have
country, we
products.
have products.
Then again, let's
Then
duplicate
again, let's
this.
duplicate this.
We have
We have
customers.
customers.
Again, let's duplicate
Again, let's
this using
duplicate
Ctrl D.
this using
We have
Ctrl D.
transactions.
We have transactions.
We want to know the total
We want to know
transaction
the
carried
total
out for that year.
transaction carried out for that year.
Then the last one
Then the
is
last one
date.
is date.
We are going to do this
We are
first.
going to do this
Date.
first.
Let's bring this
Date. Let's
down.
bring
Let's bring
the
this
I'm
down.
coming. Let's
So this is
duplicate
going to
this.
be in a
So this is
dynamic
going to
way.
be in a dynamic
We won't
way.
type it manually.
We won't type it manually.
Let me bring this here.
Let me bring this here.
I'm still going to align
I'm
it.
still going to align it.
Then you observe
Then
there
you
are
observe
fields on
there
all
are
our
fields on all
text.
our
So we
text.
have to remove
So we have
fields.
to remove
Field
fields.
color on all
Field
text.
color on all text.
So how do we need to do that?
So how do we need to do
Click
that?
on the first one.
Click on the first one, hold your control key, then highlight the rest.
So once we've
highlighted it,
shape
come
field,
to
then
shape
no
field,
field.
then no field.
That is done.
That
Then
is done.
under
Then
alignment,
under
come down to where we
alignment,
have
come down to where
alignment.
we have
Then
align,
align top.
then align top.
So it is aligned now.
So it
So
is
align
aligned
it
now.
again
So
with
align
one
it
of the
again with
objects.
one of the objects.
Again, what we need to do
Again, what we need to do is
highlight
let me
everything.
highlight everything.
So
So
good.
good.
Once we've done
So
that,
once we've done that,
we need to do this
we need to do this
dynamically.
dynamically. So we need to come to our analysis. So under the analysis, let me call this date.
So under date,
So under date, you just need to use your today's function. To press equals, then type today. Open bracket, then close the bracket. It's going to give you the current date we are dealing with, which is 3rd of what? That is the 8th of March 2025. So here we don't need to do this in the manual method. So just erase the transaction, then come to your formula bar, press your equals to, then come here and press and highlight that cell and press enter. You can see we have the date. But there are some cases whereby you have series of tables. You will have to start switching between tables. One of the best things you can also do is you can highlight this two. Once you highlight the two, come under data. That should be under formula. Come under formula, then create from selection. So you can see create name from value in the top row. I've created name for this date now. So what I need to do here, whenever I just want to reference, I don't need to reference this. All I just need to press equals, then press date. Affirming, come here, the formula bar, delete this, then press equals, then type date. You can see it's bringing the option for date as what? It's not bringing it as a function, it's bringing it as a what? As a colon. So if I click on this, then press enter, it's going to give me the same thing. So if you are dealing with multiple tables, you can do that method instead of going to other sheets. So you can use that method. So again, we need to know the total state the company is operating in. We need to know the total products they are dealing with. We need to know the total customers. We need to know the total transactions. So one of the ways we are going to do this is majorly we'll be using we'll be using pivot table. We'll be using pivot table. So we need to just go back to our data, our power pivot. Then under design, you should be able to see pivot table. That should be under home. Pivot table. So we can create pivot table, new, or we can just use the analysis sheet, existing sheet. So let's use the analysis sheet. So now you can see we are using the analysis sheet. So what and what do we need to create? We want to know the total. Want to know the total. What is it called? The total country, the total product, and the total customer, then the total transaction. That is all. So for us to create, know the total country, the first thing we need to do is we need to create a measure counting our location ID to know the total location in which the company operates. So what do we need to do? Let's come on that measure, create a new measure. So let's call this total country. We don't need description for now. So what we need to do is take note. We want to know the total country in which the firm is operating. So we can't use some here. Some we keep adding. That is why we need to understand the difference between some distinct count, max, mean, and all. So yeah, what we need to do is we are meant to use count. But if we are using count the total numbers of rows. We have different count functions. We have count rows. We have count. We have counter. We have count black. We have distinct count. All these counts has their unique explanation. Now let's check distinct count. What does it mean? Distinct count the numbers of distinct values in a column. Take note of that. If we check count also, count the numbers in a column. So even if you have repetition, it keep counting. What does counter count? Count the numbers of values. Counter counts the numbers of values in a column. Again, we have counter x, we have count blank. What count blank does is it counts the numbers of blank cells. You have to take note of that. So in this kind of scenario, we are not using count x, counter. We are using distinct count because we want to know. We might have repetition on our sales table. We might have repetition on our sales table.
But what we need to do,
But what we need to do is we need to use the distinct count. Please, can you switch sharing your screen to the Excel worksheet? Yes, that's what I'm doing at the moment. Can you see my screen now? Can you see my screen now? So we are using distinct count. So what we want to count is the distinct location ID on our sales table. Let's check location ID. Location ID. Distinct location. Let's check this location ID. Then close the bracket and press enter. Then press OK. Again, ensure you have numbers, whole number. Then press OK. So you can see we have 74. We have 74.
So the same thing is what we are
So the
going to
same thing
use
is what we
for
are going to use for others,
other country.
other country.
We are going to use the same
We
thing
are
for
going to use
other
the same thing
country.
for other country.
Other
What do we have there?
in our dashboard we
In
have
our
products, we
dashboard, we
have
have products, we
customers, we
have
have
customers, we
transactions.
have transactions.
Yeah. So I
Yep.
might not be able to do
So I
that
might not
now.
be able to do
Now
that now.
again, in order not
Now,
to go
again,
back
in order not to
again, let's
go
just
back
save
again, let's just
save our work.
save our work.
So let's save our work.
So let's save our work.
So this is almost 12:50.
So this is almost
Let's give
12:50.
a 10 minute
So let me just give let's give a
access
10
to
minutes
question. So do we have anybody
access
who
to
have any
questions.
question? So you can
So
just unmute your mic within the
do
next
you have
10 minutes and ask questions.
anybody who have any question?
If you have any question, you have
So you
just
can
10
just
minutes. I
unmute
might not be able to
your mic
continue.
within the next
So
10
just
minutes and
unmute your
ask
mic and
questions.
ask any question you
Continue.
have.
So just unmute your mic and ask any question you have.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. I want to ask if there's a recording version of the class and if it can be shared. Because for someone like me, I'm just getting across this topic for like the first time. So wrapping everything at a time might be a little difficult. So if there's a
Yes.
recording we can
Yes.
Yes,
watch
there's
and get better.
Yes,
there's a recording in
yes,
place.
there's a
There's a
recording in
recording in place.
place. There's a
Even
recording in place.
presently,
Even
I don't want the
presently,
recording to
I
go
don't want the
beyond two
recording
hours.
to go
That's why
beyond
I'm
two
just trying
hours.
to
That's
stop the
why I'm
class
just
right
trying
now.
to
You
stop the class
understand?
right
There's a
now. You
recording.
understand? There's a recording.
So be rest assured it will
So
be
the rest
uploaded
assured it
immediately
will be
after the
uploaded
class.
immediately after the class.
So are we good on that?
So are we good on that?
So do we have anybody
So
who
do we
has
have
any other
anybody who have
question?
any other question?
Do we have anybody
Do
who
we
have
have anybody
any
who
other
have any
question?
other question
Before I hand it over
before I hand
to
it over to
Mr.
Mr.
Olamide.
Olamide?
Anybody with question?
Anybody with question?
So in absence of
So in absence of any
any further
question, any
question,
further question,
Mr. Olamide,
Mr.
you have
Olamide,
the floor,
you
sir.
have the floor, sir.